marked by 300-yard games and record-breaking performances. Over the last 8 seasons, no quarterback has thrown more passes, completed more of them, for more yards and more touchdowns than Dan Marino. But his style is changing. Last year, Dan Marino led the Dolphins to a 12-4 playoff season with shorter passes to more receivers while directing a newfound running game. A more mature Marino is leading the Dolphins.
Having a balanced attack and running the ball and doing play-action passes and throwing the ball when we have to. I think we'll have a better team overall doing it that way. But we're very capable of throwing it every down and you know, winning football games.
A typical Marino game. Down by 13 in the fourth quarter, he took control of their AFC wildcard game with Kansas City. This Tony Page touchdown brought them within 6. The fire in Miami was relit as Marino worked the clock and the Chiefs for 8 consecutive fourth-quarter completions and 2 touchdowns to lead the Dolphins to their first playoff victory in 5 years.
1st and 10 as Marino throws. Clayton has it. Touchdown!
The Dolphins came close last year. This year, Dan Marino wants it all.
There's a lot of guys that are very competitive and want to win a Super Bowl on this team, so to get that taste of getting back in the playoffs and being competitive, that was a good feeling.
Tonight, the Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos in an NFL ABC preseason game.
ABC's Monday Night Football preseason special. Brought to you by Nissan, built for the human race. By the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. By Aetna, a policy to do more. And by the new Dollar Rent-A-Car. We're right on the airport, right on the money.
The familiar stallion that sits high above Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado, where tonight the Denver Broncos will meet the Miami Dolphins. A sellout crowd, that's nothing new. They love the Denver Broncos here in Denver. A preseason game, the Broncos and the Miami Dolphins. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford along with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. So happy you're with us. And right at the top, we'd like to tell you that this has been a remarkable day for news. The turmoil in the Soviet Union, Hurricane Bob sweeping the Atlantic coast here in the United States. And if it should warrant, we will cut away to ABC News for an update. Well, we are less than 2 weeks away from the start of the regular NFL season, and tonight we'll take a look at the Broncos and the Dolphins. The Broncos, of course, have been to the Super Bowl 3 of the last 5 times, and in Super Bowl 24, they were blown away by San Francisco 55-10, and then they came back from that, and last year they finished 5-11. They're very optimistic. They say last year was mostly because of a lot of injuries, but they play in a very tough division, the AFC West, and of course that means Kansas City, and they also have, of course, the Raiders to think about, and San Diego's coming on. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins, they rebounded. They had not been to the playoffs since 1985, and last year they were 12-4. They beat Kansas City, lost to Buffalo, and Don Shula was ready to pick up where he left off at the end of the season with nothing but good feelings about what might happen. But all of a sudden, Al Michaels, he looks around, he doesn't really have the people to pick up with. They're either injured or they're unsigned, and it's really troubling this man.
In his 29th year as the head coach, Frank, and in his 22nd as the head man at Miami, when Don talks, people listen. And Shula has said that this is the worst situation he has seen this close to the start of a season. Charlie Winter, their director of player personnel and the man who negotiates contracts, said at the end of last season, it's paramount. That's the word he used, paramount, to get everybody in camp early. What's happened? They have 9 unsigned players, including 6 starters and their place kicker, and they have about a dozen injuries, including key performers like Sammy Smith, their great running back, and Richmond Webb, their fine tackle. The season starts in 13 days. The bad news, their season opener is at Buffalo. The better news, their next 5 games at least are against teams that did not finish at 500 last year. But all in all, things are a little crazy in Dolphin land. Dan, as far as the Broncos are concerned, they have just about everybody in camp, but they are minus one guy, and that's a very key guy.
Yeah, that guy, his name is Bobby Humphrey. And Al, when you talk about Bobby Humphrey, you talk about the entire rushing attack for the Denver Broncos. He's got 2 years left on a contract. He wants a mega raise, and he's sitting home down south watching this one on television, and he somewhat cripples the Bronco offense when he's at home. Talking about things to look for tonight, well, a couple new wrinkles here in Denver. One, John Elway has been handed the play-calling chores by head coach Dan Reeves. He'll be making the calls tonight, and if it all goes well for the rest of the preseason, on into the regular season as well. Another great story we want to follow closely tonight is the story of Kenny Walker. We talked about him when we had the Hall of Fame game. The 8th-round draft choice from Nebraska. He is deaf. Looked like he was going to be just a spot player. This guy may end up starting on the defensive line for the Denver Broncos. What a marvelous story.
Denver tonight. The conditions are outstanding. Temperature in the mid-70s. A little bit of cloud cover, but they tell us the rain should hold off. Occasionally at this time of year, you get a late afternoon shower or thunderstorm, as was the case yesterday. And they have sold out the stadium since the early 1970s. And the same situation will prevail tonight as the captains meet with the officials at midfield. Red Cashin is the referee this evening. Each team in their next to last preseason game. We talked about the unsigned Dolphins.
It's heads, Miami, your choice.
And here they are for the Dolphins. These 9. Farrell Edmonds is a starter. Galbraith is a starter. Logan is a backup running back. Ulenake's a starter. Brown is a starter. And so is Green. Sean Lee, the nose tackle, and Soche, who, as you see, only started twice last year, but was injured and figures to be their main man, and then Stojanovic. The injured veterans, these are some of the injured veterans. Clayton, of course, the great receiver. They hope to have him back by opening day. Don Smith, they picked up in the offseason, is gone for the year. We talked about Sammy Smith. He's out for a month to 6 weeks. Richmond Webb, they hope, is back for the Miami game. Grimsley was picked up from Houston to be an inside linebacker, but he was hurt in July, gone for the year. Hobley will come back. McNorton will not. They picked him up during the offseason, and Terry Price, the defensive end, is also hurt. So Dan Marino starts tonight with a short deck for the Miami Dolphins and figures to go into the season with one. And Marino, as he gets honed for the regular season, sat out last week's game against Tampa Bay.
You know, Al, we figure to see Dan Marino for about 3/4 tonight as we look at his counterpart, John Elway. But one of the concerns of Don Shula is, as you have mentioned, that there are 3 offensive line starters that are not in there. And that could mean the offense could sputter, but the real concern is the physical well-being of Dan Marino. And Don Shula is very concerned about that.
That's the one thing he will not compromise.
I'm sure Marino inquires daily about Sammy Smith. I'm sure he inquires hourly about Richmond Webb. His addition at left tackle had more to do with Marino's success than many other things.
Treadwell kicks off, and in this mile-high altitude, you get a lot of those types of kickoffs into the end zone where it's downed by Chris Green. So here come the Dolphins, who have not looked particularly good in preseason, but their record is 2-1. There are Marino's statistics from last season when he led the Dolphins into the playoffs. Aaron Craver is out of Fresno State. He'll start at running back in place of the injured Sammy Smith. He's joined by Tony Page. You've got Duper and Banks as the wideouts, and Eric Sievers is the tight end. Then up front, that revamped line, Dellenbach, Sims, Widener. Gene Williams, a rookie from Iowa State, has looked good, and Mark Dennis, the veteran. On first down from the 20, they give it to Craver, and he takes it up to the 24-yard line against a Denver defense that lines up this way, at least initially. Powers, Cragen, and Holmes, and the aforementioned Walker, to whom Dan referred. We'll see a lot of action at right end. Fletcher, Brooks, Mecklenburg, and Lucas are the linebackers in the 3-4. Braxton was hurt much of last year, and that hurt them, but he's back. Henderson at the other corner, and Smith and Atwater, the hard-hitting pair of safeties. 2nd and 7 from the 23-yard line. Craver again, and he is met immediately by Michael Brooks, who has been really coming on from his inside linebacker spot, now in his 5th year out of LSU, and becoming an impact player.
Leading tackler a year ago, Al, and they like to say around here, and that comes from the management, that they feel they have as good a linebacking core as there is in the leagues. And of course, I'm sure they're including their #1 draft pick, Mike Kroll, who signed a little over a week ago. He's going to see a lot of action tonight. Number 51, the rookie All-American from Nebraska.
On 3rd and 7, as you take a look at Kroll, the Dolphins come up in the shotgun with 4 wideouts. Denver rushes for, and Marino quickly gets it away and hits Randall Hill up at the 27. Not enough for a first down. Hill was their #1 choice from the University of Miami. Played last week, didn't catch a pass, but did draw 2 interference penalties. And he catches his first pass as a professional here from Marino on 3rd down.
Just excellent coverage by Henderson, and then really the big hit there was by Randy Robbins, and it was Robbins' quick support from the safety position that kept Hill from getting the first down.
They pick up 5 when they needed 7, and Reggie Roby typically booms one to the 13-yard line. Kevin Clark with a nice run back, and then he pays the price as he gets bounced out of bounds at the 28 by Tony Page, who not only is the #1 fullback, but is a key man on special teams. John Elway for the Broncos. Last year completed 59% of his throws, and that's the highest in his career. Gaston Green is the former Ram, and with Humphrey out, Green is in the spotlight. With Perryman a plan B, Young and Jackson start at the wide receiver spots. Kay is the tight end. Hamilton, and then the Waddell brothers at the guards, with Karts at center and the veteran Lanier at right tackle. Elway calling his own play, starts from the 29-yard line, and Elway off the play fake, puts it on his hip, has a ton of time, and a wide open Mark Jackson, who's inside the 35 and tackled at the 25-yard line. 46-yard gain.
That's how you beat the zone. You give your passer a lot of time, and you bring a receiver from across the field underneath other fly receivers, and that time Jackson was wide open, just coming across field. Elway had all the time in the world to pick him up. He sits there all the time. Look at Jackson, bottom of your screen, wide open, and it's absolutely wiped out the Miami defense, which was in a zone, a 3-deep zone.
First down Broncos at the Dolphin 25. Elway will go to the air again. An opening for a moment, but tripping him up was Jeff Cross, who got a hand on him from behind. Otherwise, Elway would have picked up about 10.
Jeff Cross, 11.5 sacks a year ago, Pro Bowler at the right defensive end, number 91, a little slow getting up. He will be working against Darrell Hamilton, a real test for left tackle Darrell Hamilton of Denver.
3-4 with Oglesby, Turner, and Cross. And then the linebackers, Griggs, Reichenbach, Offerdahl has been in the Pro Bowl in each of his seasons in the league. Magruder will take the spot occupied last year by the departed Tim McKyer at one corner. On 2nd down, a flag is thrown as Gaston Green moves to the middle down to the 20-yard line. It was 2nd and 9, and we'll see about the call from Red Cashin. Holding. Denver. Dan Reeves, 10th year as the head coach of the Broncos, but still just 46 years old. And there were only 5 younger coaches in the National Football League.
Well, getting through last year will put a lot of years on you. You come out of a Super Bowl year, 5-11.
Holding during the run, number 69 on the offense. It's still 2nd down.
Hamilton.
Darrell Hamilton. Dan, a real key to what's going to happen to Denver this year, that left tackle spot.
Yeah, they lost Gerald Perry. They traded him to the Rams. There's a good look at Hamilton, number 69. He's got the left arm wrapped to the outside, and as you mentioned, his working tonight against Jeff Cross will be a real test for him. But the left tackle position has become so important in terms of protecting that quarterback. This kid has a chance, though, to be a good one. He's got to improve, but he's got a shot at it.
2nd and 18 is movement in the line. There are flags down. Elway, on a typical scramble, will get tackled back at the 47 by E.J. Jr., but all kinds of jumping before the snap.
Well, there was somebody in a Dolphin uniform across the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball. I think the question is going to be whether he was drawn across the line or not. But the Dolphins were in the neutral zone.
Again, John Elway pulls so many offsides with that hard count that he uses.
Offsides. Number 91 on the defense. Still 2nd down.
Well, Frank, you made mention of John Elway, and John Elway probably has the best, what they call the hard count. Watch his head, watch his chest. Do you see that? I mean, that's the the force and the intensity that he uses to throw out that second or third hut, and it got crossed. You're poised, your muscles are tight, and when someone does it as well as Elway does it, believe me, there's no shame in being pulled across the line.
Second and 13, they send Shannon Sharp in motion and leave him in to block, and he does pick up a linebacker, and then Elway has his pass picked off at the 10-yard line by Jarvis Williams. He's tackled by Jackson, and that thwarts Denver's opening drive. Miami takes over deep in its own territory with 10-12 to play in a scoreless first quarter in Denver.
The Nissan i1 is the...
Has had the ball once, and the Dolphins take over at their own 12-yard line. As you look at Mark Jackson, the intended receiver on that last play, and Elway explaining it to Reeves.
Well, there has not been good timing between Elway and any of his outside receivers, with maybe the exception of Michael Young. You see him sitting here at number 83. Elway threw to a spot, and Mark Jackson just didn't get to that spot. They've got to iron that out before the season starts.
From the 11-yard line, Marino off the fake, buys some time, fires over the middle, and that one's almost intercepted. Fred Banks, the intended receiver, and Wyman Henderson couldn't hold on.
Wyman Henderson that slipped, was down on his knees, and the ball hit him right in the hands.
At about 92 miles an hour.
And it wasn't deflected before it got to Henderson.
Again, this is about as bad a looking series of patterns. That was not beautiful. Banks was falling to the inside when it looked like Marino was expecting outside.
Second and 10. Craver picks up a yard or so. Cragen makes the tackle. Craver is the third-round pick out of Fresno State. Now, clearly, Sammy Smith is their #1 guy. And they drafted Craver with the intention of making him their third down back. He has good hands, and they want to go to him in third down situations eventually.
Only 2 years at Fresno State, but he caught 57 passes over that period of time. Actually played a couple of years at El Camino College, big junior college star in California, where a lot of great players have come from.
Third and 9, Marino out of the shotgun. Broncos show blitz, and here they come, but Craver picks up a blitzing backer. Cooper catches the pass and takes it up to the 40-yard line, where he's tackled by Atwater. Mike Kroll came in on a blitz, one rookie against another, and Craver picked them up beautifully.
He did. He stood his ground and drove him to the inside. Here's the double set of receivers to the top side, and Denver locks up in a man-on-man. And Mark Duper has the ball, and again, that's just a fine throw by Dan Marino and a good route by Mark Duper. Who's ever seen that before? 13 to 85, there's something new.
And there was Kroll, who was picked up by Craver, enabling Marino to get it downfield and pick up a first down to the 38, and then Craver slices to the outside, and it's a gain of about 6 to the 44, where Dennis Smith comes up to pop him. Craver a chance to not only work his way into shape, but work his way maybe into the lineup a little more than he normally would have had Sammy Smith not been hurt. And for Smith, he's definitely gone for the opener and maybe for the first 2 or 3 games of the season.
They're talking 4 to 6 weeks for Sammy Smith, so they are going to be depending on Aaron Craver, the rookie from Fresno State.
Second and call it 5 up at the 44-yard line. Banks in motion. Craver again cuts it back, and he's tackled by Mecklenburg with help from Cragen up at the 45-yard line. When they mark it, it will be third and about 3. Carl Mecklenburg, well, maybe he's not what he once was. I mean, that's what you can say about a lot of guys, but he still is a very effective linebacker and a key man.
They don't use him the same way either. Under Wade Phillips, they don't use him the way they used to defensively here, where he was all over the defense, inside, outside, on the line of scrimmage. They use him inside where they can get the most effectiveness from him. Wade Phillips has done a fine job with this defense.
Third and a very long 2 at the 46-yard line with 7:18 to go in the quarter. And the catch is made by Page, and Page has enough for a first down. He will not dazzle you on the stat sheet, but here's a guy the Dolphin players voted their most valuable player last season.
Well, it starts with its blocking, and Sammy Smith would be the first guy to talk about that. Tony Page is a devastating blocker, but it's rare to see someone with his blocking prowess who has the softness of hands that he just exhibited there on that reception. It's not often you see it in that package. The big bruising bomber who can put somebody flat on his back, who's graceful rolling out of the backfield with soft hands.
No score, 6:55 remaining. First quarter in Denver. 1st and 10 Miami at the 48. Marino looks back the other way and then just slings it out of bounds as he tried to set up a backside screen, and there was nobody back there to receive.
Oh, Ron Holmes was right in the middle of Marino's screen. Number 90, the defensive right end. He read it all the way. Probably the block on him, to slow him down, didn't fool him at all because he rolled right into it.
I think he slipped and fell down.
Well, that helps too.
Yeah, you talk about falling into a play. You're right, Holmes ruined it. You've got the right guy, Fred. I think it was more a case of him just falling down. Nonetheless, Marino didn't really feel that he owed an apology to the fans here at Mile High Stadium. No. He launched an air ball.
2nd and 10 at the 48. Here's Craver. Nice little slip move and then cuts to the outside and gets taken down at the 45 by Tyrone Braxton. And it will be 3rd down and 7.
Dan, you're talking about the fact that Craver's going to get a lot of work with the absence of Sammy Smith. That's the good news. The bad news is that he is working without 3 offensive line starters, and of course that key one that you've talked about so much, Richmond Webb. Here he tries it inside, has to swing to the outside, and runs into Tyrone Braxton out on the left side.
A good tackle there by Braxton, and that's one of the major areas of improvement on this Denver squad is how well their secondary tackles.
And a couple of them back there just run right over you.
3rd and 7 Miami at the 45-yard line. Marino from the shotgun. Inside handoff. Craver. A first down for the rookie as he takes it to the 33. Tackled by Steve Atwater.
When that play is called in the huddle, every offensive lineman just gets a smile on their face because you get the show pass and you have the run, the quick dart up into the inside, and nothing does more to slow down on the pass rush than this play. Look at the size of the hole, the trap inside, and Craver is into the secondary before you even know it. But right now, every guy in an orange shirt who's thinking about putting heat on the quarterback is still thinking about that last play and how badly they got hurt.
At the 34, a first down. As Marino airs it out for Banks, but too far. Banks had gotten behind Henderson, and Marino couldn't connect with him. 2nd down.
Not bad coverage by Henderson. Banks had maybe a step and a half on him, but it would have had to have been a perfect pass by Marino, and he was off the fingertips of Banks, who has 4.4 speed. Let's take a look at Henderson. He's not big, but he's very quick, and he doesn't have great straightaway speed, but he stays glued to the receiver. Now, that would have had to have been a perfectly thrown ball for a completion. Not bad coverage.
Mark Higgs is now in the game, number 21, as a running back. Higgs and Page are the split backs. Dolphins have moved 55 yards in 10 plays on this drive. Still no score. 2nd and 10, and Page takes it over the middle, and he's tackled immediately by Mecklenburg at the 30-yard line. So again, Marino is faced with a 3rd down, and he'll try to convert a 3rd and 6.
Denver trying a little deal between one of the linebackers on the left side, I think Brooks, and the defensive end, and the Dolphins picked it up really smartly, and Marino also read it, got the completion out of it.
Well, I guess as we look at Mile High Stadium from this angle, it's only fitting we see that it's in a baseball configuration, the dirt of the infield where the teams are right now.
Well, the Zephyrs, the minor league team, plays here, but in 1993, you've got the Colorado Rockies coming into the National League. As Marino on 3rd down and 6 sends one down the sideline and incomplete, intended for Randall Hill. Charles Dimry was back there to cover.
I figured I'd lead you into the baseball thing. See, you don't get to talk about it a whole lot.
Well, I'm just thinking the next time Miami plays at Denver, it's liable to be in baseball in 93.
You're exactly right.
There's Dimry, who grown up over the past years, getting acquainted with Jerry Rice, first with Atlanta, and then last week in a preseason game.
Frank, you're so bad.
Well, I mean, you work against the best, you get better yourself. That's one nice way to put it.
You either get better or get gone.
Or go to a shrink. Charlie Bauman, who played in the World League this year, will attempt a 47-yard field goal, and Bauman's kick is good. Funny thing about Bauman, he has no chance to make the team when Stoyanovich signs, but the one thing he's doing in preseason is he's letting a lot of other teams take a look at him, and this guy's going to probably wind up with a job.
Pays to advertise.
3-0 Dolphins.
For 20 years with the Cowboys and just came on board with the Broncos this year. 9 Pro Bowls, not all that big, but he was a great football player.
Now look at Guy Smith, the man to Stoutner's right, our left. He is interpreting what Stoutner is saying for Kenny Walker, who is deaf. At the 2-yard line, here's Kevin Clark. He led the league in kickoff returns last season, and he brings this one back from the 2 to the 38, where he's tackled by Michael Magruder. With 4:02 remaining in the first quarter, it's Miami 3, Denver 0.
The Nissan I-1 is the, was in those commercials. They drove it to South America.
96, it's always a great story when a 9th-round draft choice has a chance to make the team, as he does. But an even better story here, of course, is Guy Smith interprets the words of Ernie Stoutner on the sideline.
And as Dan alluded to earlier in the telecast, Kenny Walker is a great shot at not only making the team, maybe becoming a starter, certainly a situational starter. Big, 6'3", 260 out of Nebraska. They don't have as much problem with him, according to Dan Reeves, with the switch-offs and the changes as they anticipated.
If you've ever heard Ernie Stoutner talk, that guy might be interpreting for some of the guys that can hear, too.
He is intense.
Broncos first and 10 from the 38-yard line, and going straight up the middle and picking up 5 is Gaston Green. Green was UCLA's all-time leading ground gainer, went to the Rams, never really got on track with the Rams, got some opportunities, could never fulfill what they considered to be his potential, sent over to Denver in the deal that sent Gerald Perry. So the Rams are now in the absence of Humphrey. Green has a chance to shine.
He was Johnny Robinson's kind of runner. He only carried 129 times in 3 years.
On 2nd and 5, Green again stopped by Cross. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Well, opening day coming up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, Labor Day night. And what a way to begin our 22nd season of Monday Night Football. 49ers, Giants, Meadowlands.
LT really gave Giants fans a little flutter of the heart last week in the Jets game when he went down. It looked like he was going to be injured and out for a long time, but they say he should be back practicing this week. Hard to believe with the twist that he gave his ankle and knee.
3rd and a short 3. The fake to Green. Elway on a roll. And Elway has it batted down by John Offerdahl, the all-pro inside linebacker in his 6th year out of Western Michigan, and a guy who has been to the Pro Bowl every year of his career.
And you would be hard-pressed to find someone like John Offerdahl that you could take around in public, line him up with 4 or 5 guys and say, one of these fellows has been to the Pro Bowl 5 times as a linebacker in the NFL, and John Offerdahl would not get many votes. Let's just say he's a man who does not seem to fit the part.
He'd be the perfect candidate if they ever brought back What's My Line, really. Mike Horan, who led the league in punting last year, booms one down to the 14, where Scott Miller, a rookie from UCLA, makes a fair catch. 41-yard kick, 2:38 left in the quarter, 3-0 Miami.
Hey, Bud, have you heard the news?
Dan Marino, who is on the verge of signing a huge contract extension, and he deserves it. 264 yards passing per game, best in the history of the league. At the 14-yard line, on 1st and 10, they set up a screen for Craver, Mecklenburg tries to break up the screen and does enough damage so that Craver really can't get started. Lucas and Smith come up to stop him.
Al just talked about Dan Marino's average. There he is in the upper left at 264. Here are the top 10 of all time. And you'll notice one thing. They are all modern era quarterbacks. And if ever there was a statement about what impact have the new passing rules have, I say new, I'm talking about the last 15 years, the way they have made it tougher to play secondary coverages and made it easier to throw the ball. There's the best example you could ever come up with.
And easier to protect the quarterback.
2nd and 10. Marino slings it, and it's caught for a first down at the 25-yard line by Fred Banks.
All those rule changes really impacted on it, Dan. And it's interesting, too, that Don Shula was also sitting on the competition committee doing all those changes.
You know, Roger Maris has an asterisk behind his home run total because it was in a longer season than Babe Ruth, and yet you look, where is Unitas and where is Sammy Baugh and where are all the great old quarterbacks, the Otto Grahams of the world? I mean, it is a totally different game now than when they played just 30 and 40 years ago, especially if you're a quarterback.
Meanwhile, Banks with a great move on Henderson for the first down.
Mark Higgs in the backfield, number 21. He and Page form the tandem, and Higgs behind Page fights his way up to the 29-yard line where he's stopped by Brooks and Smith. Don Shula, it's an amazing thing to think about. He was a head coach in the National Football League before the Beatles ever came to America.
John Kennedy was president.
Yep.
He used to cover me when he was with Washington and Baltimore.
No.
Absolutely. He had 21 interceptions as a defensive back.
2nd and 6. As he looked from behind, the pass went through the intended receiver's hands. Higgs, Mecklenburg was there to break it up and then almost winds up in the hands of a tight end up at the 43-yard line in the person of Eric Sievers.
You know what I thoroughly enjoyed yesterday is we look at Carl Mecklenburg. Let's do this first. Again, he comes up and acts like the reception was made. That's what a linebacker is supposed to do. But wasn't it fun yesterday visiting with Don Shula and listening to him talk about Paul Brown and the influence that Paul Brown had on his life, playing for Paul Brown and as an innovator. It was fascinating to hear a man who is a legend talk about someone like Paul Brown the way he did.
3rd and 5. Marino from the shotgun at the 30-yard line, and he hits Tony Martin, but did he get the first down? Wyman Henderson makes the tackle. He has to get to the 36-yard line, just about to the hash mark. The blitz that time by Randy Robbins, and they may have to measure.
With good coordination, though, between quarterback and receiver. That's the blitz read and the instant breakoff, and that's the way it's supposed to be. If it's good enough for the first down, it's textbook. It's textbook.
Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos, on the left. Well, he's ridden the roller coaster here in Denver. He came in and he was the savior 2 years ago when their defense was tremendous and led them into the Super Bowl. And then last year took a lot of heat with all of the injuries.
89 to give it 226 points. Last year, 374.
1st and 10. Craver. Cut it back, and when he does, Dennis Smith says, welcome to the league, rookie.
Hello.
One of the 2 Pro Bowl safeties they had back then. They will really hammer you.
Dennis Smith talking about this being his last year. I don't know why. This guy can still play.
Yeah, Craver says, thank God if it is. That's the end of the first quarter. We'll go to the break with another look, and we'll return to ABC's Monday night NFL preseason special after this message and a word from our ABC station. Second quarter at Mile High Stadium.
Welcome back.
Yes. 3-0. The Dolphins on top at the 36-yard line.
It's a great business.
Oh, yeah. Second and 10 from the 36. Marino throws, and the heat was on. He tried to get it to Craver, but the pressure was put on that time by Simon Fletcher.
Oh, boy, and Marino's talking to Craver right now, saying, look, you didn't read what I read. Craver should have turned around and been ready for that. The blitz was on by the Broncos. Marino picks it up, and Craver doesn't pick it up and doesn't look back for the pass. Very frustrating year for Don Shula thus far.
Marino from the shotgun, 3rd down and 10. Well, one thing in regard to Shula, if it's going to be frustrating, it might as well be preseason. On 3rd and 10, Duper started to turn back, and also in the neighborhood was Randall Hill. Both receivers within a few yards of each other, and it's incomplete. ABC's Monday Night Football NFL preseason special is being brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember, Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. Reggie Roby will punt on 4th and 10. His last kick was 60 yards. Kevin Clark is back to accept it at the 15. By Clark at the 19-yard line. That's a 45-yard boot. It was Higgs who comes down to make the tackle. And we'll take a look at the statistics through the first 15 minutes of play, and Miami controlled the football.
This is what has been troubling Dan Reeves. He's not terribly unhappy with the running game, even with Bobby Humphrey out, but I mean, they cannot sustain a drive. They've only had 1 or 2 drives. They've only been able to connect with wide receivers Vance Johnson and Mark Jackson. 1 pass apiece coming into the game. That's what he's concerned about, being more consistent, and they just are not.
Pretty shot as the cumulus clouds build over the Rockies in the early evening. As Elway on 1st down, after looking right, comes back the other way and hits Ricky Nattiel, one of the at one time fabled 3 amigos, along with Mark Jackson and Vance Johnson. Louis Oliver makes the tackle. Jackson and Johnson are still here. In fact, there is Vance Johnson, who is hurt, and that's why he is not in uniform.
I thought it was a Prince.
And he, in fact, just got out of jail a couple of days ago. He had spent 4 days of what was going to be a 7-day sentence for criminal mischief in a local pen. Here is Green for about 3. Johnson was...
I believe it was a county jail.
It was a county jail.
Local pen.
If you're wondering, Johnson was involved in a situation involving his ex-wife and a traffic accident, so they sent him away for a couple of days. He said, he told me before the game, he said he was so nervous when he went in, his blood pressure was 240 over 160 is what he said. And he said, hey, they treated me well, as it turned out. Learned my lesson. He said the only problem I had in there is that most of the other inmates were Raider fans.
Nelson said we're going to write a book. The Vance, the beginning, the end.
3rd and 1. And Elway keeps and has a 1st down.
He did get some preferential treatment. He was allowed out 3.5 hours a day to do some rehabilitation work on his knee. So if you have to do a little time, I guess Vance Johnson made the most of it. John Elway calling his own plays. Someone in that huddle is signaling it back to the sideline. One of the problems is that the coaching staff doesn't know what's coming. They want somebody in that offensive huddle to flash it back to them so they know where to look to see what's happening.
At the 35-yard line, and the whistle sounds before the snap.
False start before the snap. Number 69 on the offense, still 1st down.
Darrell Hamilton had cost him 5 and takes the ball back to the 29-yard line.
For Darrell Hamilton,
I sure didn't see it. No.
Jeff Cross, about the quickest defensive end he's met thus far this year, and Jeff Cross took an inside move on him, and Darrell tried to set up a little too quickly.
Or it looked to me like he went right with the ball.
On 1st and 15, Elway sets up a middle screen for Gaston Green, and he's tackled from behind at the 37. T.J. Turner comes up to make the hit. Miami ahead 3-0 with 12:05 remaining in the first half. Miami opens up its season at Buffalo on September 1st. Denver opens up its season here against Cincinnati that same afternoon.
I guess Jim Kelly is saying that he will be ready for that opener, but of course we've seen him come around in a hurry. He's a quick healer.
2nd and 7. Elway has the open man, and it's off Perryman's hands. The Plan B pickup, the former Patriot and Cowboy who came over and has won the starting fullback job, can't hold on.
Boy, that's just simply not a very good throw by John. Perryman was wide open, and he threw that ball just too far to the sideline.
Broncos in preseason in their 3 games, 1 touchdown and 19 points. We caught them against Detroit and Camden, the Hall of Fame game. Then they played Indianapolis and then went to San Francisco. 3rd and 7. Elway steps up and is tackled at the 39-yard line. A good hit by Bobby Harden from Miami. That's where he went to college, and now trying to win a job with the Dolphins as a backup safety.
One of those celebrated 12th round draft picks from a year ago. Missed a lot of the season with a hamstring. He's been playing a lot. Oglesby chases Elway out of there. And Harden, who is reading, looking for a delayed receiver, picks up the pursuit, makes a fine tackle.
Mike Horan in to kick. Scott Miller to run it back. Short kick fielded at the 20-yard line, and Miller can't go anywhere as he is run down by Greg Lewis. 10:42 left in the first half. Still 3-0 Miami. Personnel, a man who is involved in all of the contract negotiations, and he has 9 unsigned Dolphins. The rumors before the game involved Sean Lee and also Mark Logan, 2 of those 9. The rumor circulating they had signed. Charlie said they have not signed. So he still has 9 out. At the 22-yard line, first down Miami. Marino throws, has an open man at the 37-yard line, and that's Mark Duper. Steve Atwater was covering. The rush was put on by Kenny Walker.
And Marino could not have thrown this much better. Again, it's the zone defense, and you get a man up bumping Marino. Playing to the outside. Marino turns to the inside. Duper inside. Marino reads it all the way. Has right on target with it. And Duper just doesn't handle a ball that should have been caught.
And of course, Duper has been, along with Clayton, Marino's favorite targets through his career in the league. Duper in his 10th season. Clayton, who's hurt, in his 9th. 2nd and 10, and this time it's off the fingertips on a low throw. Aaron Craver can't hold on. 3rd down and 10.
Here's another matchup of rookie on rookie. That was Craver working against Mike Kroll. Not a very good throw, kind of low and behind him, and that would have been a great catch. But still, in what we've seen so far here with a little over 10 minutes left in the second quarter, this looks like preseason football.
This looks like early preseason football. 7 and 16 with a few drops as well for Dan Marino. 3rd down, 10 from the 21-yard line. 4-man rush. Marino protected well and then fires incomplete, intended for Scott Miller.
Well, there's a drive that took about 8 or 9 seconds. 3 incomplete passes. Wow.
You won't see this very often either. Man wide open, and Marino with time to get it there. Off the fingertips of Miller.
That took 15 seconds, those 3 plays. From 10:42, we go to 10:27, and Reggie Roby's kick is a high floater fielded on the run at the 40-yard line by Kevin Clark, and he takes it back to the 47. So the Broncos begin their next drive near midfield. 10:17 left in the half. 3-0 Fish. And we're back at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Slow-moving first half to this point.
Weather's beautiful.
Yeah.
We mentioned the fact that it looks like preseason. Marino, I think, has looked sharp. I mean, you know, he's had several drops. He's thrown one out of bounds intentionally. Remember on that screen that wasn't there? I think Dan Marino is the guy who looks like he's ready to play, but he appears to be in the minority.
First down at the 47-yard line as John Elway, after his receivers are covered, tries to pick up a couple on the ground, and he is stopped by Jeff Cross.
You said earlier, one of the problems that is starting to concern Dan Reeves even more so is the fact that Denver has just not been able to put any drives together in their preseason games up until tonight, this being the fourth one. You start to think you're going to see things happen your way, and of course he has not been terribly disappointed in the running. That's been pretty good with Gaston Green. They haven't really missed Bobby Humphrey yet, although it's hard not to miss a guy that gained 1,200 yards for you, but they've got to be more consistent.
2nd and 9. Green threads his way across the 50 into Dolphin territory. And with Wide World of Sports finishing up its 30th anniversary season, Canon Camcorders presents one of the prime staples of Wide World through the years, the Little League World Series at 4 Eastern and 4 Pacific, 3 Central Time, Saturday. The championship game coming your way on Wide World of Sports from Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Usually the situation where Denver has been looking to Michael Young. He has been the most consistent receiver in preseason, and he is sort of their possession man. He split left with Ricky Mateo.
3rd down and 6. Elway looks first the other way, then comes back toward Young, but he's covered. And now goes back to the right side where Jackson gets wide open and is out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Initially covered, then he sprung free after Elway looked back the other way, and it's a 31-yard gain.
Well, we showed those numbers a while ago, how many more yards that Marino gets per game than Elway, but left out the fact that Elway over the last 6 years has averaged over 200 yards rushing as we ISO Jackson. He stays alive. These receivers with Denver will always stay alive with John Elway because they know that he could pop out of the arms of a defensive lineman and find them and rifle that ball just like he did there.
What's really difficult for a defensive back is to maintain your discipline all the while that the quarterback is scrambling. And it's quite obvious that the Dolphins secondary lost their discipline and let Jackson all alone. Flags everywhere. No play. This thing doesn't even begin. I mean, you know, that's easier said than done. Elway must have been moving back in the pocket for close to 10 seconds.
Number 69 of the offense before the snap, still first down.
Darrell Hamilton just having an atrocious first half penalty-wise. He's been flagged a couple times, although one time, quite frankly, they called him for a false start that none of us could see. This is a guy who has to turn in a solid performance, taking over for Gerald Perry at left tackle for the Broncos. But getting back to that secondary, when a quarterback stays alive for 10 seconds, somehow you just have to do it. You have to stay in your area. You can't vacate your zone. And 10 seconds doesn't sound like a long time up here, but that's an eternity when you're in the backfield.
First down at the 23-yard line as Green moves to the 17, stopped by Barry Krause. 7:50 left in the half.
Interesting to follow Elway as he makes his own calls tonight. That was a very good call. He had a 1st and 15. Miami thinking he's going to go to the air, and he comes with the draw, catches the lineman in a pass rush, and gets good yardage out of the draw.
2nd and 8. At the 16-yard line. Jackson in motion. Looks for Jackson. He makes his 3rd catch of the night at the 9-yard line, close to a first down.
They're going to mark it just short of a first down.
Let's look at it from behind. I think we'll see Mark Jackson with some excellent footwork along the sidelines. He's down with the left and gets that right one down. Good coordination. There are some very, very good receivers here in Denver. Good look at it, guys.
3rd and inches at the 9-yard line. And Elway again. He's so big and strong, and he's done that so often through the years. Like a fullback coming through the middle on that play.
You know, Danny Reeves and John Elway worked so long and so often, and they worked so hard during the week in the situations that they almost would be probably calling the same thing. And in talking to Danny Reeves, he agrees, because he said, we know exactly what we want to run in any given situation. I think probably he would have called for that quarterback sneak. In that case, Elway, who was calling his own plays, did it.
You see Michael Young right there. We had a look at him signaling towards the bench. Flashing the play over to Dan Reeves.
From the 7, Gaston Green through the middle. And runs it down to the 3 where Lewis Oliver comes up to make the hit.
All right, let's go back, and if Kenny will give it to us. Watch number 83. He'll be coming right at us. See him flashing right there with the right hand over. There's the hand signal over to Dan Reeves on the Bronco bench, what John Elway has called in the huddle. The coaches were terrified of being in the dark and not knowing what was coming. Good look at it right there.
I wonder how long it'll be before the opposition up in the upstairs will pick it up and phone it down to the bench and flash it into their own defense.
Well, they have to know what it means.
2nd and goal. Greg Lewis is the tailback. And Lewis with his first carry of the game, and he's in for a touchdown.
Will you listen to this stadium? I mean, this is a preseason game. This game is not blacked out here in Denver. It's being shown on local television. And this place is packed, and it is rocking because of Lewis's touchdown here. I mean, if this isn't the best football town in America, I don't know what is.
Watch Lewis again. I'll ask the same question that I asked at Canton when we watched Lewis. Why in the world did he wait around for a 5th-round draft pick? It's hard to believe. He's big, he's strong, gained over 2,600 yards, All-American at Washington.
Keith Parth was the man who was shaken up and came hobbling off, and there he is on the sideline. They may be looking at it. Cal Lepore is the replay official to see if he got in to the end zone, and here is the look they are.
The key, look at the knee. Where does the knee touch, and where's the ball? There's the knee. Oh, it looked to me like the knee was down before the ball crossed the goal line. It looks like it's going to stand at first glance, and granted they spent it longer next door in the replay booth, but it looked to me like his knee touched before the ball crossed.
It did.
Treadwell had a Kubiak hold for the extra point. Take another look. 5:30 to go in the half as Denver takes the lead.
Knee is down. The ball has not crossed the plane.
But it's a touchdown nonetheless, and Denver has the lead.
A look at Mile High Stadium from a Mile High vantage point. That's downtown Denver, off in the distance, 2 or 3 miles away from the stadium, which holds about 75,000. Mark Higgs and Chris Green. Higgs was nearest us, back to receive. David Treadwell to kick it for the Broncos, who lead 7-3. Green from the 12. And he brings it back up to the 27-yard line. Ronnie Halliburton is in on the hit, along with Keith Traylor. 5:20 to play now in the first half as the Dolphins take over at their own 26-yard line.
One of the things that Don Shula is really concerned with about the players that are unsigned is the fact that they are always one of the best conditioned teams, and he feels they've won a lot of games over the years by being one of the best conditioned teams, and when teams come down to South Florida to play them, he feels that they've won a lot of games just on conditioning alone.
Here's Craver, who exploits an opening on the right side before Brooks makes the stop up at the 34-yard line.
And he just doesn't feel you can get ready to play this game without, well, actually, he feels you need a full preseason to play it properly, and feels very strongly about it. So does Danny Reeves. I mean, he was really adamant last night. He said every time they come in, they hold out, they come in, something seems to happen to them.
Yeah, Shula kind of scoffed yesterday at the insinuation by some people that it only takes 10 days to get ready to play a preseason. Shula kind of laughed at that and said, I wholeheartedly disagree.
Second and a long 2 at the 34. As Craver gets chased, and then Dennis Smith wraps him up, and a quartet of Broncos knock him down. Smith leading the charge. Kenny Walker coming in to help finish him off.
Smith almost like a linebacker back there with Steve Atwater. The free safety, they'll come up on the corner, and they really stuff the run. Dennis still around and still going strong in his 11th year out of USC. 6'3", 200-pounder. Atwater is a real horse, 6'3", 217. There's Steve.
Third and 6 from the 30. Under 4 minutes to play in the half. Denver leading 7-3. Marino has to get it up to the 37 for a first down. And falling down, incomplete, but almost a great catch by Duper, who was on the grass but couldn't make the play.
Marino threw that ball, I mean, standing perfectly straight up and down. Didn't step into that thing at all. What a remarkable arm. If ever a man was born to stand in the pocket, it's Dan Marino.
I had a chance to interview Don Shula last night. You'll see parts of it at halftime, and we asked him straight out, is this the best you've ever seen? And Don Shula, he said, no question about it, the best pure passer I've ever seen. He's seen a lot of them.
And he's about to receive some major dinero.
Flag down. The 49-yard kick taken by Kevin Clark. He runs it back to the 28-yard line, but a marker is down.
What are some of the numbers, Al? What are some of the numbers we hear being kicked around in the Marino deal? In excess of $20 million?
That's right. The figure I hear is $23 million for 5, which kicks in after next season. He has 1 more year to go on the current deal.
Illegal motion, number 51 on the kickers. That penalty is declined. It'll be first down at 10.
He's got 1 year to go and 5 more. So here they are with 9 holdouts and a mega millionaire. We'll be back.
A lot of quarterbacks pulling for him.
In Denver, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf at Mile High Stadium, where the Broncos have the ball. And a 7-3 lead with 3:29 remaining in the first half. John Elway and Dan Marino have each gone all the way. As Elway leads them up first and 10 at the 29-yard line. He sends Shannon Sharp in motion, sends everybody out into the pattern, and then it's dropped by Derek Russell, a rookie from Arkansas who has looked real good. Not then, however.
Danny Reeves really likes this youngster, 4th-round draft pick. He was a remarkable athlete, a 13-1 hurdler, and has shown the quickness that Dan Reeves likes on the outside. Quickness like Vance Johnson and Mark Jackson. Ricky Nattiel. You can't drop those.
Second and 10 at the 29. Green sets up 8 yards deep in the backfield and gets the ball, and a flag is thrown, and he's corralled up at the 30-yard line. Barry Krause leads the charge. Red Cashin tells us it's against Denver. You know, I guess the hallmark of Shula's teams, and there have been many through the years.
Holding, number 69 on the offense. That penalty is declined.
It's another penalty against Hamilton. I'll finish that thought in a second, but we'll take another look at Hamilton here, having a tough night.
This is Darrell Hamilton right here on the left side, and working against Cross, and that's where he got in trouble the first time with that left arm to the outside. Have to understand that that thing wraps around his back, and the umpire is only 2 yards away, and it's impossible for him to miss.
Third and 9 from the 30-yard line. Elway wrapped by Cross.
Cross made a great move on Hamilton that time. Leaned him to the outside and spun around on the inside, and no way that Hamilton could stay with him. Now, I'll tell you, that's got to concern Danny Reeves, because with your right-handed passer, as Elway is, you can really get him hurt this way.
This is where playing tackle isn't much difference in cornerback. If you begin to lose your confidence, you're in trouble. Now that, as Frank said, a world-class move by Jeff Cross. But you can plainly see that Hamilton, walking off the field with his shoulders stooped and his head down. I mean, this is a guy now who's really dragging, and somehow has to get it back together.
Loss of 11. Horan with a high floating kick fielded by Miller at the 29. And UCLA is audibly stopped at the 35-yard line. And providing that audio was Reggie Rivers. 52-yard kick and a 6-yard run back. 2:21 to play. Almost all of the penalties tonight against Denver I started to see in regard to Shula, one of the hallmarks of Don's career when you look at his team. And it's amazing to me, 11 times in the last 15 years, the Dolphins have been the least penalized team in the league. I mean, the law of averages says it should be once every 28 years that your team leads in that category.
Well, he's got a reputation of just not putting up with it.
Marino throws. Page makes the catch at the 40-yard line. Don Gibson forcing the issue. The rookie out of USC coming flying through.
A great look at the hardest quarterback in the league to sack. Now, he's had great protection up front, but his release and that innate ability to just dodge somebody makes Danny Marino by far and away the toughest guy in this league to get on the ground.
And, you know, Dan, regarding that, they have led the league 9 times in protecting the quarterback from sacks, and that is 3 times more than the team that you played with. 74, 5, and 6, the Cardinals, and they've led it 9 times.
Yeah, we dominated back in the 70s, but I don't know anybody's ever had a quarterback that gets rid of the ball the way Marino does.
Action before the snap. It was Keith Sims, one of those who was moving.
You know, Frank made mention to Miami and their marvelous record. Sacked only 40 times in those 4 seasons, 87 through 90, an average of 10 times a year. Other NFL teams, look at that. The quarterback, now that's yearly, 39 times. Doesn't one short of what the Dolphins did over 4 years. I mean, it is a remarkable record. You have to give the guys in front their due, but remember now, Marino never operated behind lines just sprinkled with all pros. There were people in there like Dwight Stevenson and people like that. But Dan Marino has a presence in the pocket unrivaled, I think, by any quarterback that's played in the last 20 years.
Penalty against Miami, 2nd and 15. And that is through the hands of Craver. He had an excuse on the last one, which was low and behind him. This one is right there, and he can't hold it.
This has been some of the sloppiest receiving that I can ever recall seeing. I mean, this is on the verge of being pathetic.
And for the Broncos, it goes right back to their San Francisco game, which was almost equally as bad 12 days ago.
Another Sterling. It was Denver that had a poor offensive showing in the first quarter. Miami has been more than gracious enough to turn it around and take it on their shoulders. 4 total yards here in the second quarter.
Marino is 7 of 20. Granted, several of those have been dropped. When's the last time you saw Marino throw 8 straight incompletions?
Against Kansas City in the playoffs.
On 3rd down, incomplete.
8 straight completions.
Yeah, little difference.
I never thought I'd get to the point where I'd long for a playoff tackle. And I think maybe he's longing. He's longing for a playoff tackle. Sammy Smith running the ball, going behind Richmond Webb. Both of those guys hurt and unavailable.
They gave them such a different dimension last year, and that certainly helped Marino last year when they were confident in their running game.
Well, this is turning into a punting duel as Roby sends it to the 28-yard line. Charles Henry makes the tackle on the run back. Kevin Clark can go nowhere. 2-minute warning comes with 1:55 left in the half.
What are they warning them about?
Yeah. Stadium since 1970. And again, a crowd about 75,000, at least that many tickets were sold tonight. Looking on, as always.
And there aren't many empty seats. I mean, you see a few, but I am amazed at this turnout. And I made the statement earlier, I do not know, there is not a professional football team in this country that receives as rabid a support as the Broncos receive here in Denver. It's something to see.
First down, Broncos from the 29-yard line. They lead by 4, and Elway looks to get out of bounds. Chased out by E.J. Jr. Stops the clock with 1:48 to play in the half.
E.J. Jr. filling in at that linebacking spot. That's Hugh Green's spot. But Jr. has really been a valuable addition here in Miami. He started his career with the St. Louis Cardinals, transferred to Phoenix, and in the last couple in Miami. But the former All-American from Alabama has really been a sensational player in this league, and you should hear this guy play the piano. He is a gifted pianist, and when he was a rookie in St. Louis, knocked us all dead by sitting down and playing a concerto.
Second and 15. And going deep for Russell, but too far. Russell had a step on Paul Langford down the sideline, but couldn't get there. Jeff Cross forcing the issue as he put the pressure on Elway.
John still is yet to throw his first touchdown pass in preseason. Came into tonight 15 of 29. Still hasn't connected tonight.
We talked about him calling his own plays. Another thing we should mention, it's in the genes. His father, longtime coach, San Jose State, Stanford, and now coaching the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Think we can get a piano up here in the booth? Maybe we'll get Junior to play in the fourth quarter. There's Pat Bowlen, the owner of the Denver Broncos, looking on.
Third and 15. Elway airs it out again, but good coverage, and even though the catch is made by Michael Young, he is clearly out of bounds. Michael Magruder had him fairly well blanketed. Fourth down.
Another 3-and-out series.
Well, if nothing else, Marino and Elway are getting their arms limbered up for the season tonight. Even though the statistics look pretty shabby. And a flag down.
The pass was caught out of bounds. It's incomplete. There's no foul. Fourth down.
Elway 5 out of 11 for 98 yards and an interception. Horan now punting for the fourth time. Scott Miller back to receive for Miami. Rushes on, and it is blocked at the 13-yard line. And it rolls down to the 3 where the Broncos pick it up and bring it back to the 19, but Miami ball. Michael Magruder, the guy who is going to fill the cornerback spot vacated when they sent McKyer to Atlanta, makes his presence felt. Reggie Rivers picked it up and ran it back to the 19, but it's Miami's ball.
But if this was a regular season, let me tell you something. The awareness and the hustle that Reggie Rivers showed in picking up this ball. Now look, we're going to see the block. Okay, there's a good look at the block right there as Magruder gets it. But watch Rivers. He bolts out of the corner of your picture there. And the yardage that he saves the Broncos here, if this was a regular season game, could turn out to be something very, very important.
Miami has it at the 19-yard line. Marino fires over the middle and off the fingertips of Tony Page. And Marino has now thrown 10 consecutive incompletions.
Now, their special teams will get a little work, too. Obviously, a mistake to let Magruder come free. Magruder is a 4'4", 40 man, and no one even touched him, and it was a straight shot at the punter.
1:19 remaining in the first half. Dolphins have all of their timeouts left. Second and 10 at the 19-yard line. Fake to Craver. Gray blocking up front.
Buys time from Marino, and now he dumps it off, and it's Craver. Craver gets a block and then gets back to the 19-yard line. So after all that, no gain. Stopped by Kenny Walker.
Pretty nifty mobility on the part of Marino. Most people will tell you that he didn't move around too well, not very athletic. But Dan talked about how few times he is sacked, mostly because of the quick delivery, but he knows what's happening back there. He's so cool, directing traffic. You saw him there directing a receiver. You saw him directing a blocker, and he avoids the sack.
Miami spends a timeout with a 3rd and 10 coming up from the 19-yard line.
And now is when I know Don Shula would like to have their big tight end Farrell Edmonds in there at 6'6" and 250. They work him so well down inside the 20-yard line. Big target for Marino.
You know, if this was a regular season game, and again, I'm trying to think along those lines, how important what Reggie Rivers did. Here the Dolphins are facing a 3rd down situation now. Clear out close to their 20, to the 20-yard line. Rivers picks that ball up. Watch where he gets the ball. That ball is on the 4-yard line. And he gets it all the way up to the 19 or to the 20-yard line. Now, we'll see what happens here with Miami, but if they end up having to settle for a field goal, it's because of this guy right here, Reggie Rivers.
And that could help him make the team. He's signing Melvin Bratton for the backup fullback job.
A little move will not be lost by the coaches.
Little things mean an awful lot.
3rd and 10 from the 19. Marino, and it's off the hand on a throw behind Craver, and a flag is down near the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's the problem. Usually is holding.
Well, that's a problem when you got 2 guys also, Frank, that close together.
False start before the snap. Right guard, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
What a break for Miami. That's an unusual situation where a penalty really goes in your favor, because you are facing 4th down, but this is a penalty that can't be declined. It never even happened. Gene Williams, the right guard, number 61, flinched, so it's a dead play. I mean, Denver would love to turn this penalty down, but they don't have that option. This is that rare instance where a penalty is your best friend.
3rd down, 15 at the 24-yard line. Shotgun and 4 receivers. Pressure put on. Screen is set up, and nobody is there but a bunch of linemen. Craver somehow had wedged in there. The flag is down.
Craver was the intended receiver, and he got lost in the screen.
Ball was illegally touched. Exactly. Loss of down, 4th down.
One of the defensive linemen got in the way of the pass that was intended for Craver. One of the offensive linemen, rather. There's Craver, 34. He's right in the middle of it.
Well, the ball hit Gene Williams in the back. It might have hit Bert Wiedner as well. Dan Marino playing a little ricochet in there. It hit 1, maybe 2 of his offensive linemen.
42-yard field goal attempt coming up for Charlie Bauman now. Scott Ski Fuels will hold. And as we say, Stoyanovich has the job when he signs, but Mr. Bauman figures to be on a television set near you come the regular season. I don't know in what uniform, but he's kicked very well in preseason.
Well, he popped that up quickly, and this is off grass. And not quite as easy a surface as the artificial surface to get that kind of quick height on that ball. And I bet you around the league there are a lot of people perhaps thinking about kickers or taking a long look at him tonight.
Don Shula at halftime, an ABC News update, of course, with the situation in the Soviet Union and Hurricane Bob, and then we'll be back and take a look at our opener, which features San Francisco against the Giants on Labor Day night.
That'll be Ted Koppel with our ABC News update, and believe me, we'll be as interested as you to find out if there are any new developments. Sobering day in the Soviet Union.
Kevin Clark and Derek Russell are back to receive for the Broncos. They lead it 7-6. 40 seconds to play, first half. Charlie Bauman to kick off. Bauman from West Virginia. And Derek Russell will kneel down in the end zone, so the Broncos will take over at their own 20-yard line.
Bauman's popped a couple of touchbacks to go with a couple of good field goals.
Speaking of being in Denver, we'll have a crew here as well for the Texaco Haviland Grand Prix of Denver, which takes place here on Sunday, and you will see it live, 3 Eastern, live 2 Central, and on tape at 2 Pacific. International Race of Champions, times reflected at the bottom of the screen there on Sunday here on ABC Sports.
City really gets into that. They're all geared up, bleachers, gather all around.
From the 20-yard line, Robert Perryman. Is that a play on words, all geared up?
Yes, I thought it worked rather well.
Good. Didn't want that to be lost.
The boos from the crowd were not muffled very well.
Oh, excuse me.
Unhappy.
We're running out of gas up here in the booth, I got to tell you.
Yeah, but you're providing plenty of spark. But the crowd not happy with that call by John Elway. They wanted to see a little excitement here at the end of the first half, but hard to blame Elway, letting the clock run out and going into the locker room. But listen to this crowd. This is preseason now.
Yeah, they've just been spinning the wheels, both teams.
Yes. And this transmission will be continuing very shortly.
Oh.
That's enough.
Yeah, please.
The half, mercifully, is here. 7-6 Broncos. Back we come after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Moon over Denver. Second half underway. Miami kicks to Denver. Kevin Clark takes it from his 5. And he brings it back out to the 28-yard line. Well, the score is close, a 1-point differential, and the halftime statistics are very close as well.
Not a whole lot of triple figures there, are there?
Hardly deserving of comment.
Broncos take over at their own 28. Again, if you joined us late, and aren't you lucky, Broncos minus Bobby Humphrey, who has not reported to camp, as Gaston Green picks up about 5. Bobby Humphrey has completed 2 years on a 4-year deal. By the way, all kinds of Humphrey rumors are circulating, including a prospective deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Dan Reeves said last night when we met with him that he doesn't want to trade Humphrey, but he will if it gets to that. And Reeves also said that what Atlanta's offered to this point has not been good enough.
I mean, I think it's simple. It's what you ought to, could say is that Dan Reeves is not phoning anybody, but he is taking all calls.
2nd and 5 as Green again gets hit at the 34-yard line by John Offerdahl.
I mean, he is not calling around trying to get rid of Humphrey, but he said, I have an obligation to listen to what anybody has to offer. And to this point in time, they just feel it hasn't been enough, as Al told you. But again, if he doesn't trade Humphrey for a bona fide running back, you have to wonder about what's going to happen to this football team, because it was so apparent that the impact that Bobby Humphrey had on this football team and their ability to move the ball. He's the first legitimate rusher they've had in a long time.
1,200 yards a year ago. Played hurt.
Well, over 1,000 a year before that.
3rd and 5. Flag is thrown in the area in which holding is normally detected, and this may be coming back. Yes.
The problem that happens here in the NFL when you try to sign your veterans is what happens to your salary structure.
Holding number 60 on the offense, still 3rd down.
What happens to your salary structure every year when you sign your #1 draft choice? You know, an excellent example in Denver this year is that when they signed Mike Kroll, their #1 draft choice, the linebacker, his contract breaks out to a salary in excess of $1 million a year over the life of that contract. That is approximately twice what Bobby Humphrey makes running the football. So, you know, you can almost sympathize with a guy like Humphrey who says, well, wait a minute, this is backwards. And the system is backwards. It's ridiculous that every year your #1 draft choice becomes either your highest paid or your second or third highest paid guy on the roster.
Third down, 15. Elway, open man Russell, and here's a guy trying to make the team who has now dropped 2 right in his hands.
Oh, John was right on the money with that, and Russell had split the zone, was perfectly situated for it, and he just flat dropped it. The 4th-round pick, rookie out of Arkansas.
Maybe the moon's in their eyes.
Oh, he had too much time to think about it. He was thinking 6 points. Didn't take his eyes off it. Didn't really catch it with his hands. He tried to squeeze it into his chest, and that's no good.
Mike Horan, whose last punt was blocked, gets a boomer away, and an angled kick that is fair caught at the 22-yard line by Scott Miller. Nothing like kicking in this mile-high altitude. 55-yarder off the foot of Horan. 12:42 to go in the 3rd.
It's time to rediscover American.
In Denver, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf on a very pleasant night with 12:42 to go in the 3rd quarter. Broncos on top 7-6, and Miami has the football at its own 23-yard line. Dan Marino is still in there as we start the second half, and he gives it to the rookie Aaron Craver up to the 26. As we take a look at the Dolphins in the first half, a half in which Marino was 8 out of 24. Punt, field goal, punt, 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 and a field goal.
You know, those 2 field goals, only one of them was really a legitimate drive. You notice the other one was a -5-yard drive.
I don't think it was a reflection of the plays he called. He had a couple of drop balls, broken plays, and just kind of sloppy all around.
So Scott Secules on the sideline. He figures to get some action tonight. Greg Beatty, the tight end, makes the catch up at the 31-yard line, and the play is whistled dead there, where it will be 3rd down and 2. And the question is, did he catch it? And I'm sure that Cal Lepore and the gang up in the replay booth will take a peek.
Well, his back was to the sideline camera. He was going away from the cameras on the sideline. Let's see if we can see it here from the end zone. No, he did not have the ball. Nope.
That had an elbow squeeze on it.
Yeah, that doesn't constitute possession when the ball hits the ground like that.
Well, they took a peek at it. And then finally they get a stoppage of play. I mean, if
Timeout number 1 for Miami.
Miami calls a timeout. Well, they're not even looking at it.
Marino went to look at it.
Marino going over to say, can you believe we got away with that one? I mean, I'm a proponent of replay, but if you're going to use it, I mean, when will you overturn a call? Pretty clear. Wow, timeout. Full completion when Beatty came down with the ball, but the other overruled him, so they have moved the ball back to the original line of scrimmage and made the 3rd down and 8.
And replay did confirm that it was a non-catch. Yep. So the system worked. The communication was a little slow. I mean, that's a good instance where the referee can announce to the crowd what's going on, and to us and our audience as well.
3rd down and 8 from the 25-yard line. 11:51 to go, 3rd quarter. Broncos blitz, and Marino gets it away, and the catch is made by Mark Duper up at the 27-yard line, but well short of the 1st down. Atwater and Dimry converge on the tackle.
Yeah, they came with a corner blitz that time. Lilo Lang blew off the corner and got a pretty good shot on Dan Marino. That's what forces the very short pass, but good work that time by the Denver Bronco defensive unit.
Reggie Roby to kick, and Ricky McTeal is back to receive it for Denver. Takes it at the 23. He normally does not run back punts. and has this one batted out of his possession but out of bounds, and so Denver will keep the ball after Nattiel runs it to the 33, and it was pushed out by E.J. Jr. who caused the fumble. But Denver has it and a 1-point lead. 11:08 to go in the third.
It's time to rediscover America.
Secondary coach for the Denver Broncos.
Great defensive back in his career with the Dallas Cowboys.
He's trying to get
association with Dan Reeves started.
Trying to get Mike Kroll caught up with things. He came in just a few days ago, and they have really been working, and they have been absolutely shocked at how quickly he's picked everything up. He's in great shape, and you can tell when you talk to Dan Reeves that they expect great things from this All-American.
John Elway and the Broncos at the 31-yard line to begin this possession. Elway is 5 of 12 to 98 yards. And a whistle before the inception of the play. Dave Weidel may have moved, number 79.
False start, number 79 of the offense before the snap, still first down.
Yeah, you'll see that Weidel was trying to get out front and lead a sweep, and sometimes when you have to pull, you're so cognizant of getting out there in front of the ball carrier that you jump it a little bit, and he got caught.
He has his whole name on his back because his brother plays on the other side of the line, Doug Weidel.
Interesting to see earlier, similar situation. Elway called his own plays, but with a draw play out of this. 1st and 15.
You know, it helps when you have a back that size to be able to get your whole name on.
Yeah. 1st and 15 from the 26. And that's knocked down, intended for Jackson, but getting a hand in was Michael Magruder. Magruder with a lot of experience in the CFL, played 3 years at Saskatchewan. And again, a guy who comes in now, and he'll take over in the spot vacated by Tim McKyer.
So some records up there, and of course spent 89 with Green Bay.
Of course, he's playing now because J.B. Brown, the starting corner on that side, is one of Miami's unsigned players. They picked up a corner on the other side, Bestie Jackson, who figures to play a lot for Miami. Former Bear player, came in a trade for Eric Kumerow.
Started a lot of games for the Bears.
2nd and 15. And again, the Dolphin secondary does a good job in their coverage, and that enables David Griggs to get in there and tackle Elway. At the 23-yard line, it will be 3rd down, 19. Well, Stanford with a tremendous quarterback tradition. You take a look at some of their alums. John Brody threw for over 31,000 yards, and Jim Plunkett more than 25,000. And here comes Elway, who will lead them all by the time he's done, with over 24,000 yards through the air in his career. 3rd and 18 at the 23-yard line. And Elway gets sacked again.
John turns around in real desperation and barks out some angry words at his offensive line. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's the kind of, this is a preseason game, but there's nothing wrong with being upset. And you see last year, only Randall Cunningham got sacked more often than John Elway. And that's nice to see John taking that role, taking that yoke and taking off with it a little bit.
Mike Moran to kick. It's the 4th time Elway's been sacked tonight. And a boomer off Moran's foot, taken at the 26 by Scott Miller. He comes back to the 32-yard line where Mike Kroll makes the tackle. Well, we talked about Stanford quarterbacks, Brody and Plunkett, Elway. There have been others through the years. Tonight's quiz: which 4 colleges have produced players who've combined for 100,000 yards or more passing in their NFL careers?
That's not for Dan and me. That's for our audience, correct?
That's for the audience. Well, we'll mull it over.
Then Dan and I have that down.
We'll get back to you.
Call 1-900 such and such, and it's $45 a second.
From the 33, that's nearly picked off, and, well, Alton Montgomery, he was going to go to the end zone anyway. Ball and no ball. Right there.
Nobody is holding on to the football tonight.
Offense or defense.
This baby has been oiled up. Al, you must have got some of that suntan lotion on it before your trip overseas. I mean, this is, I don't recall seeing such a sloppy game.
Well, there's Marino, first quarter. Figures are decent. Second quarter, he had 10 straight incompletions. This period, 1 for 3, 2 yards. Second and 10. Traver up to the 37, where Mike Kroll makes the tackle.
I mean, preseason game or not, to think that Dan Marino has barely over 60 yards passing in a game that is well into the third quarter, in which he has played in its entirety. It's almost hard to grasp.
And as you pointed out a while ago, the sun just never goes down around here.
It's like Norway.
Dan doing a little color.
Third and 6 up at the 37. And we will get back to you with the answer to that quiz.
It's a great look.
Not for Marino.
No. But it is for Mecklenburg. Yep.
We talked about Offerdahl not looking like the type of football player that he is. Well, this is one that looks like the type of football player he is. He is big, tough, and as one of our colleagues would like to say, he loves it down in the dirt and dirty.
Well, Reggie Roby is terrific at sea level or at 5,280 feet, but he loves it, as do all punters, in this altitude, averaging 47.5 tonight. Not a good kick this time. A wobbler, but a tremendous bounce, and this will look wonderful on the stat sheet because it's taken at the 8-yard line and down there by Mark Higgs. So we got a kangaroo hop and a 61-yard kick, the way it turns out.
See Roby now walking to the sidelines, looking at his wristwatch, and just casually mentioned, "Would you see the spin I put on that?"
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks from tonight, you know, we open up another season of Monday Night Football, a tremendous game, the Giants and the 49ers, and prior to that at 8 o'clock Eastern and 7 Central, and then following the game at the Pacific time zone, the Sports Illustrated Pro Football Preview Special comes your way Labor Day night, the 2nd of September. Well, you know, I'm thinking about the quiz with 4 colleges with quarterbacks who've thrown for over 100,000 yards. We don't know the answer, honest to goodness. Steve Hurd does downstairs. I got to think, though, Notre Dame comes to mind, Montana and Theismann, and Alabama comes to mind with Namath and Stabler.
Well, Alabama you can count on. Here is Spurrier and
Green run out of bounds at the 10.
And Michigan, the way they throw the ball around.
Oh, you know, this is
100 yards.
You know, why do you guys, you know, I'm sitting here minding my own business.
What about Purdue? Dawson, Everett,
Greasy.
Yeah.
Oh, those are I'm thinking maybe
Oregon.
Well, now you also have
Spouts.
Now, you know, a lot of people, I think, are automatically going to say, well, the University of Miami, because of Gozar and Kelly. Those guys are all still relatively young.
Yep. And Testaverde.
Yeah. But I don't think they've gone over 100,000 yards.
They've done the most damage recently, though.
2nd and 8. Elway. He'll step out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Well, let's see. Is it time for our answer? Here's the question again.
Really
Four
unfair.
colleges with quarterbacks who've combined for 100,000 or more yards passing in their careers. And the answer, Stanford.
We had that one.
Purdue. Yep.
Alabama.
Greasy. Everett. Alabama. How about
Notre Dame.
that?
We covered it. Aren't we proud?
Oh, yeah. 3rd down and 6. Elway to Sewell. Out past the 20, the 30, and a run out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Steve Sewell, and every year you come into Denver and the Broncos say, you know, we got to figure out a way to get the ball to Steve Sewell more often.
You know, they use him mostly as a receiver. He was a fine running back at Oklahoma, a good all-around player, but he's worked into kind of a specialty role here. This is one of them, little screen, one-man screen, and Sewell gets the Broncos out of trouble out to the 33-yard line. Tom Olivadotti, he has really turned that defense around down in Miami. Now in his 5th year, former University of Miami defensive coordinator, a couple of years at Cleveland, and then the Dolphins.
1st and 10, 38-yard line. Elway for Natil, and Ricky is out in front for the touchdown.
Boy, is that pretty. Ricky Natil just accelerated right by Chris Green. Man, they were shoulder to shoulder. Elway aired it out, and Natil just blew by him. Watch this burst by Ricky Natil. The ball gets put in the air right about there. And this is just downright big-time acceleration by Ricky Natil.
Ricky from Illinois played that rather poorly because he had to know Natil, once he got abreast of him, was going to blow by him. At the very least, he could have maneuvered his body in front of Natil.
Well, sooner or later, it was bound to happen with Marino and Elway throwing bomb after bomb. And Treadwell's extra point is good. That gives the Broncos an 8-point lead. And so Elway throws 25 yards to Sewell, and it's 62 to Natil, and it's 14-6 Denver.
Full roast out here.
When these two fight, as the Niners and the Giants kick off Monday night.
Auditioning for a Hank Williams video.
Crowd in regular season form. Their Broncos ahead 14-6, 6:59 to go, third quarter. David Treadwell approaches the ball. 8-yard line. This is Randall Hill, the #1 draft choice, the receiver from Miami. Takes it out to the 26-yard line. Broncos go 91 yards, and it doesn't take them long. And here's the touchdown reception by Natil.
What I would love to know is, with Elway calling his own plays, if beforehand there was some communication from Ricky Natil to John Elway that, hey, I can get deep. If we run a fly pattern, I'll get by the guy. Frank, you'd almost think there was.
Probably something like this. If you see me one-on-one, go to me. I can beat this guy. I've looked him over. He's a rookie out of Illinois, and Natil knew he had him, and I'm sure it did happen.
One of the advantages of a quarterback calling his own plays.
From the 27, a fumble by Craver, and right there is Powers to fall on it. Mecklenburg did the stripping.
Well, the last time Miami ran a play, Carl Mecklenburg sacked Dan Marino. And now on the first down play, he comes in and strips the football. The Snow Goose, he's got the look, doesn't he? Look at the blood running down out of the left elbow. But Carl Mecklenburg, one of the steadiest linebackers of the last decade, comes up with another big play for the Denver Broncos.
And Gary Kubiak comes into quarterback as they take over offensively. So Mecklenburg creates the turnover, 6:40 to play. And it appears Elway is done for the night. Kubiak, who's been John's longtime backup, has Greg Lewis, the rookie from Washington, who scored a touchdown earlier behind him. And Lewis takes the toss to the short side of the field and sprints down the sideline for a touchdown.
Tell me again, he's a 5th-round pick. He's looked great for us now in 2 games.
Doug Weidel must block 3 or 4 different Miami Dolphins. What blocking out front of Greg Lewis. Take a look at the right guard, number 67. I want you to follow him. Don't look at the ball carrier. There is one block. There's a block out front by Monty Smith, and then Wydell just seals off the whole inside, and Greg Lewis, of course, supplied the speed, but tremendous blocking by the Bronco offensive line, Smith and Wydell.
Treadwell converts for Lewis tonight. 2 carries, 12 points. They call him missed the touchdown.
Say, when he turned it on down the sidelines, he had the speed that I think probably is the reason he was a 5th-round draft pick. Maybe a little suspect on speed, but he really turned it on. And it was a fine block, but to tell us not to look at the ball player now. I mean, the ball carrier.
Well, we're going to look at, well, we saw the ball carrier when he scored. Frank, we must learn to appreciate the subtleties.
Oh, expand my horizons.
We must look beyond the man who's toting the leather. Now, there were 2 great blocks. Here's the block right here by Smith. He's taken the kick out, and then here's Wydell, who's going to seal off the whole inside, giving the lane right up the middle for Lewis.
This is what I said. Watch him accelerate, right? He sees it, and he bangs through the hole.
But look at that hole, Frank.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is, and Wydell just keeps going downfield past 2 or 3 different people, and Lewis Oliver took a poor lane to cut it off. That's excellent, excellent blocking, and pretty doggone good acceleration by Lewis. And Bobby Humphrey is sitting at home watching that.
21-6. The Broncos lead by 15. Treadwell's kick is down to by Higgs.
I mean, you got to give these guys up front a little credit. The New York Giants proved in the Super Bowl last year what you can accomplish if you have a big offensive line that can dominate the line of scrimmage.
Scott Secules will come in now for the Miami Dolphins. So Elway is done for the night on one side. Marino is done on the other side. Total yards by quarter. Miami had the edge in the first quarter, but look at Miami, only 6 yards total in the second and third quarters. Meanwhile, the Broncos have busted it open. Secules, the former Cowboy, finds an open man up at the 39-yard line, and that is Andre Brown, who makes the catch and has a first down up at the 43.
Andre Brown made a good move for Secules. Saw Secules in trouble. He was on a deep pattern, and he turned around and came back to the quarterback, and Secules was able to find him and get it to him.
Secules and Scott Mitchell are the second and third quarterbacks, much like being an understudy to a huge star on Broadway. You're not going to see much action in Miami.
The star never gets sick either.
Yeah. First down at the 44-yard line. That's Miami's first down since the first quarter. Hello at the 46-yard line. Garrett Limbrick gets garroted by Rick Dennison.
Garroted?
I just want to see if you're paying attention.
Are you insinuating that he used a garrote?
Sort of. John Elway.
That's another one that doesn't get sick very often either. As Gary Kubiak can attest, having started only 5 games in 8 years.
Mark Higgs and the 5'7" Fireplug has a first down as he takes it to the 45. Higgs stopped by Jeff Mills. Higgs is a guy in a semi-precarious position. You know they've got Sammy Smith. They like Aaron Craver. They want to keep him. Now you've got Higgs. Now you've got the other Mark, Logan, unsigned but about ready to sign apparently. And one of those guys ain't going to be there. First and 10 at the 45-yard line. 4:20 to go. Third quarter. Limbrick. He takes it down to the 40. Limbrick's another guy who has to do something spectacular in the next game or two to hold on to his job. They've got Tony Page as their top fullback. You know they're going to keep Jim Jensen. He can be a fullback as they do the wave in Denver.
The season's here.
All fans are here.
Boy, now this place starts to vibrate.
2nd and 5. Seacule stopped at the 40. Mike Kroll that time put the pressure on.
Good quickness on the part of Kroll, the rookie. He had dropped into the pass protection, and he is so quick. He was able to recover and get Seacules right at the line of scrimmage. I'd say about $6.6 million over a 4-year period. 2.7 in bonus signing, 1.2 in salary per year, and sets off a lot of repercussions.
3rd down 5 at the 40-yard line. The wave continues in Denver, where their Broncos lead by 15, and then broke it up. Lilo Lang, the mellifluous one, knocks it away from Scott Miller.
Lilo Lang getting a long look from Danny Reeves as he has a very good chance of making this ball club.
Drafted in the 5th round last year. Are these people here aware of the fact that this is a preseason game, that this is...
Unbelievable, isn't it?
What is this, the 19th of August? I mean, incredible.
You feel the stadium shaking?
Darn right I do.
4th down and 5 at the 40 as Miami goes for it. And a little shovel pass to Aaron Craver inside the 30, the 20, and Craver is run out of bounds after getting the 1st down. Alton Montgomery makes the tackle. So on 4th and 5, the old Utah pass, the Gross Cup shovel, and a 31-yard gain.
And good call in the preseason. You wouldn't see that too often. It's something you wouldn't work a whole lot on, but Seacules gets it to Craver, who some pretty nifty running here. He'll make a little dip to the inside. Slips one tackle. Look at this move to the outside, picking up the block. That's fine running.
He got a 20-yard block by Scott Miller, number 8. Wide receiver to that side. He pinned the guy to the inside that gave Craver another 20 yards.
Craver shaken up. Comes out for the moment. 1st and goal at the 9. Higgs to about the 6-yard line. 2nd and goal. 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Miami, with one more preseason game, they go home and meet New Orleans at Joe Robbie Stadium on Saturday night. And the Broncos have one game remaining. They go to Phoenix and play the Cardinals on Friday night. 2nd and goal. Seacule throws. Limbrick wants a flag, contends that he was held up. No flag. Incomplete. 3rd and goal.
Limbrick must have been just complaining that the ball was thrown high, because really I didn't see him get touched. I think he was just bemoaning the fact that he was wide open and Seacule overthrew him. Here's a look at it again. Seacules, I think, just tried to put a little too much touch on the ball, and it floated away on him. He'd have been better served if he'd have thrown it a little harder, a little firmer, more on a direct line.
Exactly. Tim Robbie, owner of the Dolphins, watches on 3rd down and goal as Seacule hits Miller for a touchdown. After the defensive back, Henderson fell down.
Well, Seacules had to smoke on that ball. He really put the zip on it.
Yeah, I think he learned his lesson after the last one.
See it over in the left corner. It's Wyman Henderson was in the coverage, and he had man coverage, and he slips and goes down, and Seacules delivers it right on the number.
Well, it's only fitting that went to Miller, because he got the great block on the run by Craver to get it down there. So fitting that he ended up with a touchdown, but I guess also fitting in the kind of evening we had, he almost dropped it.
Scott Miller's got a chance to make this team. Picked in the 9th round out of UCLA. He had a big night in Tokyo against the Raiders. And with Mark Clayton questionable in terms of health for the beginning of the season, this guy could win a spot.
Defense, point is good. Be a 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
A lot of jobs on the line here tonight because they cut to 60 players tomorrow, and then a week from today they cut to 47. A lot of dreams are shattered. A lot of hopes disappear when you get that knock on the door or the phone call. It's a brutal game that way. You go home and somebody says, "Where you been?" "Oh, I just was on a summer vacation."
Did you work out? Yeah, twice a day.
3 meals.
Did you get paid? Yeah, for meals.
What was Paul Brown's line? It's best now that you get on with your life's calling.
He had a lot of them. I like the one when he referred to the demonstrators in the end zone. He would tell his players, "Try to act like you've been there before."
I like this other good line about talking to the press and talking out in public. He said, "When you win, say little. When you lose, say even less." Sounded. We are in the age of chest thumping. Paul Brown did not approve.
Charlie Bauman lifts it into the end zone. And Kevin Clark downs it there. Well, our 22nd season of Monday Night Football begins with a Butte. 49ers and Giants meet at the Meadowlands on Labor Day night, September the 2nd, 9 Eastern time. And then we'll be in Texas, where the Washington Redskins take on the Dallas Cowboys in the second week, and will remain in the Lone Star State week 3 as the Kansas City Chiefs and Christian Okoye visit the Astrodome to take on the Houston Oilers. And that's the way it will all begin on Monday Night Football.
I'm looking forward to our return to Texas Stadium. We haven't been in Dallas in a long time. And all the sights there are in Dallas.
A lot of excitement around that football team.
First and 10 is Kubiak. On a roll, hits Russell. He makes the catch up at the 33-yard line. And that's a first down. So Russell, who's dropped a couple and is fighting for a spot on this club, calls one in from Kubiak.
He needed that catch. He's a real fine athlete. Again, you know he's got the speed, a 13-1 hurdler. He's a good athlete. This is a tough catch. And he's dropped a couple, as you mentioned, Al. And this is one he needed to impress Danny Reeves and himself, to get himself back on track. They're pretty high on him around here.
14-yard gain. First down Broncos at the 34. That much time left third quarter. Denver leading by 8. And here is Lewis, and it's the first time tonight he's carried the ball without scoring. 3 carries, 2 touchdowns, and then that last effort, and there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Red Cashin against Denver. And Miami now given the option. 1st and 15 or 2nd and 8. And Shula says go with 2nd and 8.
Illegal formation. No end on the right side of the line. That penalty is declined. It's 2nd down.
Melvin Bratton is coming in for Denver, Al, and he is one of those players really kind of on the bubble. He was a starter a year ago, and he has kind of been replaced by Robert Perriman in the plans for the season. He performed well 12 days ago against the 49ers. Caught the ball well, ran the ball well, but he is maybe showcasing his wares to somebody else.
2nd and 8 at the 36-yard line. Kubiak takes to Lewis. Then runs it for a first down, sliding to a stop up at the 46-yard line. And that's the way the third quarter will climax. 15 minutes to play in Denver. The Broncos lead the Dolphins 21-13. In fact, we come after this word from our ABC station.
Sunday.
Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Mile High Stadium, Denver. We start the fourth quarter, 21-13. Broncos ahead, and Denver has the ball at its own 46-yard line, 1st and 10.
The three of us growing old with you.
Kubiak airing it out too far. Intended for Norris Haynes, a rookie from Maryland, seeing his first action of the night. And first downs just about even. Denver with an edge in rushing and passing. Time of possession about even.
One big shot to Ricky Nattiel, and John Elway represents a lot of that 254.
I'm saving myself for the regular season.
Okay.
I noticed that.
2nd and 10 at the 46. Kubiak to Lewis. First down. Tackled at the 40-yard line.
You like this guy, don't you, Frank?
I like him a lot. He's big. He's got size. He played some tough football at the University of Washington. I think he might have hurt his shoulder right now, though. Took a good shot on the left shoulder, and he wants out of there. He's not the kind of guy that would come out of a ball game on his own. Well-designed play. Works well against the zone. We talked about it earlier. You have the time to throw it. You bring it a man underneath and across. He took a tremendous shot there from Magruder.
Magruder and Green. Chris Green came in there as well.
Reggie Rivers replaces him in the backfield, number 38. First down, Denver at the Miami 40. Rivers, gain of 3. He gets to the 37-yard line. To work on Rivers, 2nd and 7.
I'm going to have to hope this shoulder is going to be all right, because Greg Lewis has a wonderful opportunity to make the football team and play a lot for them, I think. 5'10", 214-pound rookie from Washington, who you can see right there, he put up some very impressive numbers at the University of Washington. And they play some pretty tough football.
Don James, now the dean of Pac-10 coaches, and boy, he's got that program rolling at Washington. They are turning out. They're doing a good job of stocking the NFL.
A lot of people think that they could have the best team in the country this year.
Possibility.
I'm out. Denver by 8.
From Touchstone Pictures, actor Miles Pope is the man of 1,000 faces.
Oh, boy, you talk about a gruesome twosome.
Drew DeRosa on the right and Jack Savoy on the left, who just got married. Recently betrothed. All right, Jack.
Well, I think Drew's an original here on Monday Night Football, going back 22 years with it.
And Jack just got married, what, about 10 days ago?
Yep.
2 weeks ago?
Some way to spend your honeymoon, huh?
Made some girl real unhappy.
2nd and 6, and Bratton has it fall at his feet. And it will be 3rd down and 6. 13:27 remaining. Broncos on top, 21-13.
This will be the stage of the game where, I don't know why I have to point it out, that both coaches are going to be looking at different personnel. They're going to be calling plays perhaps that will show personnel in a different light. Maybe wouldn't be the play they would call if it was an ordinary game. But that's what preseason is all about.
Kubiak, and then Russell broke off the pattern, and the ball is intercepted by Michael Magruder. So some miscommunication there, and poor Russell has had himself a night to forget.
That indeed was Russell. He is going to be in deep trouble when they start looking at the videotapes of this game. He's dropped a couple of passes he should have caught.
They're gonna have to look at this again. I think that ball looked like it was awful close to the ground. I mean, this at least warrants a look by replay. Let's see if Magruder keeps this ball from hitting the ground.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll tell you, that's hard to turn over, though.
Man, remember now, they ruled it an interception. Well, I mean, regardless of how this ends up being ruled, that was phenomenal hand coordination by Michael Magruder, keeping that ball alive like that. I mean, he is prone. He's on his stomach.
And you got to feel that it was Derek Russell, because Gary Kubiak knows this offense. He doesn't play that much, but he knew what he expected of his receiver, and he didn't get it, and Magruder was absolutely stunned. He was prone on the turf, and it hit him right in the hand.
It looked to me like the ball bounced on
I don't think you can take it away.
Oh, I think you could take it away.
Well, not after what I watched earlier.
Well, Cal Lepore looks at it upstairs.
Irrefutable.
Well, I think the kid deserves it because of that effort, but I wouldn't be surprised if they took it away. Nothing surprises me.
Well, a wily, crafty veteran like you've been around, seen it all.
Know it all.
Tell it all.
Omniscient.
While his review by the replay official, the pass is ruled incomplete. It'll be...
Oh, they did.
I think you could see before he had possession that the ball did touch the ground, but it's a shame that it negates what was a marvelous effort by Magruder in keeping that ball alive.
Still, it forces Denver to kick because it's 4th down and 7. And Mike Horan, assuming he does kick it, will try to pooch it. To the far side, and they will line it up.
Oh, he got it.
Yes, he did. One official lines up with the other official who stands at the spot at which the ball was punted, and then he moves along the sideline to the point in which he intersects where the ball lands, and that's how they determine that the ball goes out of bounds at the 3.
Thank you, Professor.
Yes, sir. You get an A. No, you get a D.
A happy anniversary coming up in a couple of days. 25 years.
You're very kind. Thank you.
What a saint she is.
Oh, tell me about it.
Never a rocky moment in the road.
It's been just bliss all the way through. First down from the 3-yard line. Sequels out of bounds, and Mike Kroll forced him out. Our audio man is okay, the audio technician. Speaking of milestones, a belated happy birthday to you and to Kathy Lee, who celebrate on the same day.
Exactly.
Multiple gifts.
She loves it, and I'd like to avoid it. Those things happen in life.
I feel so left out.
Yes.
In case you didn't ask, Cody is growing. Now he's with the William Morris Agency now. Doesn't take my calls.
And the new name of our show is 3 Men and a Baby.
2nd and 10. And Sequels throws incomplete, intended for Andre Brown.
The William Morris Agency is that.
Yeah, he's going right to the top. Well, we went to start him out, at low level.
Oh, I understand. If you think I'm climbing on that,
no, the kid is busy, though. I like it. He's learning the work ethic very young.
Sleeping in?
No, he doesn't do that, I can assure you.
Dolphins 3rd down and 9. Out of the shotgun from the 4-yard line. Sequels has it deflected. That play was dead to begin with, though. That was...
I think I took too much time. When the back judge throws the flag.
Half the distance, still 3rd down. Delay before the ball snap.
Yep, down to 0.
That clock looked like a preseason clock. There are a few dots missing on that baby.
Well, look at it set at 25. They're missing a bunch here, too.
Yep. I'd say you better get the electrician in here before September 1st.
Time to get the old light bulb crew to work. Aren't we being picky?
3rd and 11 at the 2-yard line.
Maybe they're waiting to sign Bobby Humphrey and see if there's any money left over.
Sequels from out of his end zone throws incomplete. Scott Miller nearest to the ball. And it's 4th down.
Eagles had Miller open. He just sent a flyer out of the end zone.
I don't think either coach is going to go home with a smile on his face tonight. Don Shula knows he's got a lot of work to be done between now and the opener at Buffalo, and a lot of guys to get in camp and to get healthy. Dan Reeves' team has not particularly looked scintillating at any point during the preseason, but he's confident that they can contend for the AFC West title. Reggie Roby blasts one out of the end zone. Taken at the Denver 41 by Mathieu. Ricky runs it back to the Miami's 42-yard line.
It's kind of an uncharacteristic punt for Reggie Roby. He didn't get much height on it, and even though he kicked it almost 70 yards, the Broncos were able to return it. You kick it low like that, you're going to get a guaranteed return of 10, 12 yards out of it.
I'm sure you have people in Miami right now preparing to push the panic button, and quite frankly, I think with very good reason. I mean, you look at what happened with that team last year, finishing 12-4. I mean, you really, this is a team that had Super Bowl aspirations this year, but with 9 guys still unsigned, with the injuries they have, you really have to question whether or not this team will be capable of equaling what they did last year. If they don't have people start coming in droves and coming in a hurry, the early part of the season is going to be lost for Dan Marino and company.
One thing about Miami and Dan Marino is that he is confident. We heard him say that at the very top of the show. We run the ball, but we can win games by just throwing the football, and you can bring your offensive linemen back in. They can pass block better, as we look at down on the sidelines, pass block better than they can run block. And I'm talking about Richmond Webb, the Pro Bowl tackle over on the left side, the center, Hewlin Hake and Harry Galper. These are the guys they need in. The fact that Sammy Smith will be missing for a few games, well, they can live with that when you got a Dan Marino if you protect him.
2nd and 8, Denver. 11-20. Dolphin lineman jump. This is Melvin Pratt to the outside. Walker down as he gets to the 34-yard line.
The schedule really gives Miami a bit of a break after they go up against Buffalo in the opener.
That's true, because as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, they open up with a very tough game, obviously, but then they play Indianapolis, Detroit, Green Bay, the Jets, and New England over the next 5 weeks. So that's a soft schedule.
All teams under 500?
Yep.
Last year.
Speaking of soft schedules, that's what Denver gets. That's the benefit of finishing last in your division. Denver plays, for instance, when you finish last, you play a last place schedule. They've got New England twice.
Offside, middle of the line of the defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
To illustrate what we're talking about with the schedule, the 5th place team, since they went to that formula, 16 of the 52 teams who played that schedule won 4 or more games the next year. So what the Broncos would have to do is to join that category is win 9 games and go at least 9-7.
And that's what you have to understand. You say 4 games, is that really that big a deal?
Number 79 of the offense before the ball was snapped, still 2nd down.
If you're 6-10, which is a horrible year, all of a sudden now you've got 10 wins. Hey, that's playoff material. I mean,
Sure.
You're not only in, you may be a division winner.
That's right.
When you start going 10 or more wins. So
they went 5-11. They go 9-7. You got a chance to get in as a wild card.
Certainly in the AFC you do. If you were in the AFC Central, that would have won your division last year.
Kubiak has to call a timeout. He doesn't like what he sees as they come up on 2nd down and 8.
Kubiak had a little trouble in their last game against San Francisco calling his own plays, and Reeves went back to calling them for them. I don't know what that's happened now, but he's going to come over and talk it over with Danny Reeves on the sidelines.
Get ready for the biggest.
I mean, Vance has had 4 different outfits on since we came to the stadium tonight.
Well, he knew we'd find him.
Yes. Meanwhile, there is Lewis. He's laughing right now, but remember, he hurt his shoulder earlier, came back in for 1 play and re-injured it, and he appears to be done for the night, and there are his numbers on the evening. 2 touchdowns.
I think if they thought it was very serious, they'd have taken him in. They've taken the shoulder pads off. Where it is knows that he has bruised his left shoulder and will not return tonight. But he has shined pretty brightly for the Denver Broncos ever since he came in as a rookie fifth-round pick out of Washington.
2nd and 8 as play resumes. The Broncos at the Dolphins' 40-yard line. Denver leading 21-13. Kubiak gets taken down at the 47-yard line and might have lost the ball and did. Mark Sander, a rookie from Louisville, creates the havoc and comes up with a football. So a sack, a fumble, and a fumble recovery.
Good move by free agent rookie. Not all that big, 6'2", 232-pounder, but very quick.
That's a Lawrence Taylor type move, coming in, stripping the ball, and he has Kubiak's arm and the ball wrapped up.
That's the trifecta. That's the sack, the strip, and the recovery. All for one guy. 47-yard line. Higgs to the 45-yard line. It's 7, 2nd and 3.
Kenny Walker has entered the game. There he is, number 96. Let's keep an eye on him as we move through the fourth quarter here. Moved under the 10-minute mark, but this is the kid. There's just such a fabulous story surrounding him. He's deaf, an 8th-round draft choice, and he's got the possibilities of becoming a fine player in this league.
Sequels throws, and the pass is out of the range of Andre Brown.
You wonder how he will adjust to defenses that are called. In most defenses, you get a lot of conversation going out there. The linebackers in the inside usually calling the changes. They will work with him. The linebacker behind him, and whoever it might be, Tim Lucas,
we see him.
Kroll, they'll give him a pat and show him which way to move.
We saw him right there. His eyes jump to the sideline. He actually looks over to the sideline when the call is flashed in, and he takes it the same way that Mecklenburg or whomever the linebacker is that's going to call the defense. He'll just take it. That way he doesn't have to rely on their call.
And if they have to change it, they'll just pat him on the fanny on one side or the other, and he makes the adjustment.
3rd and 3, a 5-man rush. Sequels unloads and has a first down as he hits Andre Brown at the 40. Tackled by Steve Atwater.
Even more remarkable, he was an outstanding student, young Kenny Walker, and went in the 8th-round draft pick because I think a lot of people were concerned whether or not he'd be able to make the adjustments that you have to make in pro football when you couldn't hear the changes.
Well, the people in Denver tell us that one thing they did was they underestimated his natural strength, that he's a much stronger, more physical player than they had imagined.
From the 40, Sequels. And he's dragged down, and there is Kenny Walker right there to put him down just past the line of scrimmage.
I mean, he's blocked, but what he does is he stays alive. Watch the spin back to the inside. He knows he's too far upfield. There's the spin back. He frees himself from the blocker, and then it's just hustle and desire. It's wanting to get to the guy who has the ball. And if you'll notice, Mills had him down there on the feet, but I don't think he'd have brought him down if Kenny Walker doesn't make that tackle. There's a lot more yardage to be had.
2nd and 9, and Sequels with room to roam. Ooh, tries to get the first down. May have, but Lilo Lang
got the worst
there
of that.
to lay on a Lollapalooza.
Lilo Lang going to the flip chart.
La La Land.
Scott Sequel's size.
Sequel's a big dude, 6'3", 220.
And Lilo just found that out. Lilo, rather than being the licker, became the licky. Instead of putting a lick on a guy, he got one. He got one in return.
He's made some big plays tonight. And he's getting a long look from Dan Reeves. Very possibly going to make the ball club as a 5th-round draft pick. A couple of years ago out of Washington.
Going to be 3rd and 1, and Miami has asked for a timeout. 7:53
remaining. Well, we can catch you up on some of the things that have been happening in the National Football League over the last day or so. Here it is.
All the ships at sea.
Yep. Saints sent the cornerback Robert Massey to Phoenix. They get Derek Kennard in return. Hartley Dykes was hurt the other night in New England's exhibition with Phoenix, suffered a broken kneecap and probably will miss the entire year. Bjorn Nitmo, who didn't figure to make the team anyway, was cut by the Bills. Norwood has that job, and both Garrett boys are out of work as of the moment. Mike Wilcher, the longtime linebacker from North Carolina, cut by the Rams today, and Al Del Greco, the Cardinal kicker, is also cut. Eric Kumaro and Jim Covert put on injured reserve for the Bears, and to replace Covert, who is now out for the season, they traded for Ron Mattis with the Jets today. Mattis, the longtime Seahawk who had gone to New York, will now go to Chicago. 3rd and 1. And Garrett Limbrick is stopped before he can pick up the first down.
Again, as we did last week, we'll send along our best to our colleague at NBC, Paul McGuire, who's still resting in a Buffalo hospital. Paul had bypass surgery a couple of days ago and is expected to have a full and complete recovery. So, Paul, if you're watching,
Go to sleep. You're up too late.
and being the football fan you are, you probably are. Frank's right. Turn off the television and go to bed. But a solid and complete recovery. We're pulling for it.
Dolphins going for it on 4th and 1, and they don't get it. Aaron Craver gets stopped by the Bronco defense, led by Mecklenburg.
And listen to the crowd. They're leading 21-13 halfway through the 4th quarter, and they're into their defense.
Well, they've kept some of their first unit people in there.
Well, this is just a great play from behind by Mecklenburg. I mean, this is all Carl Mecklenburg, who has had a sterling game today. There's Mecklenburg, 77. He's behind the line of scrimmage, pursuing from behind. And folks, that's just hustle. That's just wanting it. And a lot of veterans look at a preseason game as a time to turn it down a few degrees and coast. Quite obviously, that's not the case with Carl Mecklenburg.
Broncos at their own 31-yard line, 1st and 10, 7:02 to go. Denver up by 8. And this is Reggie Rivers. Picks up a couple.
Gary Kubiak changing that play at the line of scrimmage, and he just did get it off. I think Kubiak is now getting the plays called into him from the sidelines. He had trouble in the San Francisco 49er game when Elway started calling his own plays, and he went back to having the plays sent into him, and I think he's doing it right now.
He's got a lot to think about. He's coming back from back surgery he had during the offseason, and this is really, these last couple of weeks, his first extensive work in a long time. And believe me, Frank, you know back surgery, it's tough to shake that. That's on your mind constantly.
2nd and 7 at the 34-yard line. Rivers again. Nice opening for him. Out to the 41, close to a first down. Chuck Klingbeil makes the stop.
Danny Reeves now calling the plays for Kubiak. He looks over to the sidelines and picks it up. Pat Haggerty is the quarterback who will be signaling those plays in. Little measurement.
Third down. 9:57. John Offerdahl takes a breather. Funny thing about Offerdahl, here's a guy, good high school player, obviously, fine career at Western Michigan. In all of his years in football, last year was only the 2nd time he played on a winning team. His high school teams had all losing seasons. As a freshman at Western Michigan, they had a winning season and then 3 losing ones, and then all of the years he was at Miami, they had either losing records or 500 records until last year.
But look at this guy. I mean, he looks like an altar boy. This does not look like a snarling, vicious linebacker, and that's the way he plays. He's a contradiction in terms.
3rd and inches and a little mix-up in the backfield, but plunging ahead, Bratton may have picked it up anyway. Didn't need much.
A little sloppy, and if that was Mel Bratton, it's not going to help his case. He's talking over now with Gary Kubiak. Obviously a mix-up between the quarterback and the running back.
Red Cashin saying, well, we got to measure again. Meanwhile, Louis Oliver. Nice little stud in the left ear over on the Dolphins sideline.
Coming off a 5 interception year in 90, along with Jarvis Williams. They both had 5.
He's got something to prove, though, this year. Oliver was, remember the last time we saw him in action when it counted last year, they put him on the bench in the playoff game in Buffalo. He did not have a good afternoon as the Bills won 44-34.
Well, against the Bills, I mean, you have Louis Oliver in there. He's 6'2", 226, more like a linebacker. And when they go with that no-huddle offense, they can trap him into one-on-one coverage, and Don Shula didn't want that. And that's what that no-huddle offense will do for you. These big safety men get caught covering man for man on a wide receiver, and they're dead.
Well, he said it was clearly the low point in his career. From the 41-yard line.
Well, the one thing they want Oliver to do is they want him to be a little more aggressive on the ball and a little less aggressive on the man. I mean, he's an assassin. He is a guy that goes in there for the kill shot, one of the hardest hitting DBs in the league. They want him to make more plays on the football, try to get more interceptions, take a few more chances rather than just going for the kill shot every time. And boy, he can apply the kill shot. He is a lethal weapon.
Recent years, that strong safety, or usually there's been one safety. Some teams have a couple of them, as Denver does, but they've always had one that plays it like a linebacker.
2nd and 8. Rivers again, and he runs right into Mark Sander. So Sander is not hurting his chances with his performance in this 4th quarter. Right place, right time.
A rookie from Louisville, and undrafted, a free agent.
Made a couple of big plays tonight.
Yeah.
6'2", 232. Again, he's not all that big. On linebackers today, you don't find many around 6'2" and 230.
Played for the Louisville Cardinals under Howard Schnellenberger.
Now, it's the Phoenix Cardinals, the Louisville Cardinals, and the Stanford Cardinal.
Cardinal, very good. That's the color cardinal.
We must,
and the Cardinal in gold.
We must keep this straight.
Well, there is a timeout on the field, which enables us to remind you that Wide World of Sports this Saturday features the championship game of the Little League World Series, brought to you by Cannon Camcorders. And you'll note the special time as the Wide World begins a half hour earlier this week, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Williamsport, Pennsylvania, the site for the Little League World Series. Scott Mitchell, the lefty, throws on the sideline. We could see him before the night is done.
Don Shula likes Scott Mitchell a lot. He's big. 6'6", 236-pounder. He said flatly last night that he thought he'd be able to play in this league.
3rd down and 7 for Denver at the 43-yard line. Kubiak out of the gun, looked toward Rivers as a safety valve, but he was covered. And then Kubiak takes it to the 47, but he's about 5 yards short of the first down. Klingbeil makes the stop. 3:20 to go, and the Broncos nursing an 8-point cushion, but they'll be forced to kick. Kubiak, I guess his biggest moment in the sun, so to speak, came in moonlight. It was a Monday night game a couple of years ago in Washington when we were there. John Elway was sick before the game.
We didn't know he would start until just a few minutes before the game.
Yep. led him to a victory. Mike Horan. It's out of bounds. It does land out of bounds. It came back in, but it's marked out at the 18-yard line.
Ezekiel's the quarterback of backs up Marino, at least for tonight. Started his career with Dallas and was traded in 1989 from the Dallas Cowboys out of the University of Virginia.
Now we've got Mitchell.
The big one.
Mitchell comes out of the University of Utah, which means that Jim Fossil, who's now with the Giants, was his coach in college. Fossil's going to play a pretty key role on the staff of Ray Hamley. Mitchell retreats and then guns a strike to Randall Hill. And he is tackled out of the 43 by Lilo Lang, a 22-yard gain.
A little move to the inside by Randall Hill. He has great speed and obvious potential.
Mitchell guns one over the middle, and that one is knocked down by Keith Traylor, one of the high draft choices for the Broncos out of Central Oklahoma. They want to take a long look at him.
Talking about Hill a moment ago, he came in late, of course, but they've got him clocked at 4.29 for the 40. Dolphins' #1 draft pick.
Second down 10, Miami at the 41. 2:08 to go.
One thing you can do with that speed he did against Tampa Bay, he drew 2 pass interference calls with Randall Hill.
Mitchell throws it to an ineligible receiver.
There was Kroll in there on the blitz, and he gave Mitchell the old ragdoll treatment. Everybody in Denver here anxious to see what kind of a year Mike Kroll has. He got the big bucks, 4th player taken in the draft, and you expect immediate impact out of a guy taken that high.
Well, he made a good move right there. Moved to the inside, made the contact. The little one, she's had enough.
Yep. Bedtime.
She's one of the lucky ones. She doesn't know the difference between preseason and regular season.
Just knows the colors are very pretty.
3rd and 10. Well, trying out for a long snapping position. And the next thing you know, the ball winds up back at the 19-yard line. It was Darren Handy who snapped it over Mitchell's head, and that's pretty tough to do when the guy is 6'6".
It looks like Lilo came up with it. Lilo, Mitchell wasn't even ready.
He thought it was going to hit him.
Yeah, Mitchell was looking the other way, and the Dolphins couldn't even catch that one.
2-minute warning. You've been warned.
A long list of Miami receivers who doesn't catch the football. Whoop. In his defense, he was not expecting it to be snapped.
I'll tell you what, that picture sums up this game.
It certainly does. No one in a Miami uniform tonight has shown a great deal of prowess in catching the ball. Marino, I thought, was sharp in throwing it. Everyone was a bit ragged in catching it, including Mitchell.
Denver up by 8. 1:55 to play. Denver has the ball at the 19-yard line. Miami has only 1 timeout. So the Broncos can run the clock out. Funny way to run the clock out. And it's the rookie Sander again with his 2nd sack.
And I think what we're missing now in preseason play, they are not necessarily going to run the clock out because they have personnel that they haven't seen throughout the entire game, and they want to look at them in some kind of real action. And so consequently, you don't get the play that you ordinarily would during the regular season.
Sure. Yep. Good point, Frank.
Unfortunately.
Yep. Are we lucky?
Couldn't let well enough alone, could you?
No, I shouldn't have done that.
I'm looking to read credits here. 2nd down and 15 at the 24. Melvin Bratton picks up about 3, and Miami's going to take a time. Yep. Colfax Avenue is the route we'll be taking very shortly, exit 210A. As we can tell you, the executive producer of ABC Sports is Jack O'Hara, and tonight's game was produced by Ken Wolf, directed by Craig Janoff, our technical director Joe Chavo, our associate director Patrick McManus, our assistants to the producer Fred King and Kurt Kluger, our technical operations managers Hal Schmitz, Tony Versley, and we want to say so long to Hal Danforth, who's been with us for a number of years. Wish him well. Our director of information, Steve Hurt. Our statistician in the booth is George Hill. And our spotter is the invulnerable Malibu Kelly Hayes.
Well, we can call him Aspen Kelly Hayes now.
No. His hometown is chronicled today in the life section of USA Today. He hits all those spots.
Yeah, indeed, they did cover him. Well, he lives there.
Yep.
Let him move up there, Al. Thinking about it. Get with the biggies.
What are you guys talking about?
I don't know. 3rd down and 13. The 23-yard line is Reggie Rivers. Gets to the 19.
We don't see Denver on our Monday night schedule this year. We'll catch the Dolphins on the 18th. Up in Buffalo, November the 18th, that is. And we'll see them again against Cincinnati in December. And our birthday boy.
Oh, there's Billy Edwards trying to sneak out.
That means all of our commercials have been run.
Billy Edwards will turn 80 years old, our sideline coordinator, as he makes his way out of Mile High Stadium.
Watch him work the room.
On his way to Billy's Bar in Annapolis, Maryland.
One of the real hot spots there.
Billy on his way to sign autographs for his collection of groupies that follows him around to various NFL stadiums.
He auctions off his orange gloves, even as he leaves.
And again, another shot of Billy Edwards. And now we can safely say that Billy has left the building.
Doesn't Billy know that Denver just called the timeout? We get another commercial in?
Here we go.
He's a grand guy.
As the crowd chants, Billy, Billy, don't leave.
Look, they all recognize him.
Look at him. We're not kidding, though. Billy Edwards does turn 80 years old and still works our sidelines here for Monday Night Football.
Oh, he's a medical marvel. Unbelievable.
A special man.
42-yard field goal attempt is no good by Treadwell. I'll tell you, you're 80 years old and you walk up the stairs at Mile High Stadium, you are a medical marvel.
Well, he's such a, let's put it this way.
Good fine liver.
He's not Jack LaLanne's clone. Billy has lived a full life. Well, that's about all we can devote to Billy, I think.
Run the gamut. And this game has about run the gamut with 19 seconds to play. Broncos on top, 51-13.
Well, we covered everything. We got Cody, we got Jack Savoy's marriage, we got Billy's bar in, we got Al's anniversary, right?
Dane will be on vacation in the mountains.
Yeah.
That catch is made by Mark. Is that Mark Duper still in the game at this hour?
Sure is.
It sure is.
And just think, in the midst of all that, we were able to squeeze in a football game. Boy, are we good or what?
Scott Mitchell with a fine delivery there. Again, he's a big one. 6'6", 236.
"13 seconds to play. Dolphins wrapping it up against the Denver Broncos. And, of course, Miami goes home to face the prospect of signing those 9 unhappy campers As Andre Brown makes the catch.